Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto joins Anbu after chunin exams. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Jiraiya's lost student and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. "You're the nine-tailed fox," shouted Mizuki from his position in the treetops, laughing maniacally as he pulled his second giant shuriken off of his back. "No," yelled Iruka weakly, having taken the first of Mizuki's shuriken to the back. Actually I'm not," stated Naruto calmly, much to the shock of both Chunin, but especially Mizuki, who was hoping to mentally cripple the blonde idiot to make his escape easier. Mizuki recovered quickly, hoping to convince the blonde that was the Kyuubi, redoubled his efforts. "Yes you are. The Yondaime sealed the nine-tailed fox and me the day of the attack and yada yada yada. I already knew that idiot. I've known for like 6 years now. Hell, I've talked to the damn thing. I was doing it while I was waiting for you to get here. How am I not supposed to know about it?" stated Naruto. "However, I also know that it's an S-class secret, so I guess that means I have to kill you or bring you to Ibiki. I still owe him 20 ryo from that damn poker game last month." To say that both Iruka and Mizuki were confused was like saying that all Kage only disliked paperwork. They were searching their brains for anything that they could think of that would explain the child in front of them. After all, this was Naruto, the idiot prankster who didn't have a care in the world. How could he know he was a container, even talk to the fox? Who is Naruto? Mizuki decided that he was bluffing and to call him on it. "Yeah right demon, you're a failure. You couldn't touch me. Let alone kill me. Do you really think a failure could beat a chunin? You must be dumber than I thought." In the blink of an eye, Naruto was behind him, holding a kunai to the throat of the traitor's chunin. "Mizuki, do you enjoy using your legs?" questioned Naruto, his tone cool and careless, not unlike a certain silver-haired jounin. "No shit, I like my legs you piece of sh." He was cut off when Naruto slipped the kunai in his other hand into the base of Mizuki's spine, effectively paralyzing the man. Naruto pushed him off the tree limb, letting him fall with no way of safely landing, and in a matter of seconds 3 things happened. Iruka saw Mizuki's legs collapsed beneath him. Naruto pushed him off the branch they were standing on, and when Mizuki was about 3 feet from hitting the ground, Naruto appeared and threw an incredibly hard uppercut to the exposed jaw of Mizuki, sending him back into the air, only for him to return to the ground hard when out of nowhere. An anbu dropped Mizuki to the ground with a wicked axe kick to the base of his skull, sending the wayward chunin into sweet unconsciousness. "Nice shot dog, though I really wanted to be the one to knock him out," stated Naruto in a positive tone. Now fox, no need to be sad. After all, with this you're finally out of Anbu, just like you wanted, though you might not like the team you're with now," said Dog, removing his mask, revealing a very amused Kakashi Haddock. "After all, it won't be easy going from Anbu to being on a genin team. You should thank the heavens that the Sandaime let me be your sensei. You could have gotten a Suma, and he is literally part Nara." Now, Iruka was many things, and an idiot was not one of them. In fact, at one point, the academy teacher was once an Anbu, though he always said he wasn't cut out for it. So seeing his former Anbu captain refer to Naruto as Fox, a name only ever given to one other Anbu ever, he was quite confused. What the hell? What is going on? "Ah, Iruka, nice to see you again. Come with us, you've already seen enough. You might as well know everything else. Besides, it will be nice to catch up with my old student," stated the lazy scarecrow as he began walking back to the village. "Naruto, you carry the traitor." Hokage's office. Iruka had just entered the office of the Hokage, only to once again be surprised by what he was seeing. Kakashi and Naruto, standing at attention. This is not the part that surprised Iruka though. What surprised him was that the Hokage was handing Kakashi a jonin flak jacket and Naruto 2 headbands, one the normal leaf headband, though it had black fabric, showing Naruto was a specialist. The other was a strange golden headband with an unknown symbol on it. The symbol was type of swirl. It looked almost 3-dimensional, though it obviously wasn't, seeing as it was on a flat surface. It was after seeing the second headband that he finally decided to listen to what was being said. "Kakashi, Naruto, this was your last mission as Anbu. I'm very proud of both of you, and I don't believe I would be overstepping my boundaries to say that you two were close to, if not the best operatives I've seen in the last decade. But this mission, you are both listed in the Konoha official ninja book. Kakashi, you will retake the rank of elite jounin, allowing you command of troops in wartime. Naruto, I'm sorry, but you will have to be a genin, but you will keep your Anbu level clearance," stated the aged Kage, a smile on his face. "Oh, that's so unfair. I'm head and shoulders ahead of the others in my class. Did you know how hard it was to act that dumb? I'm sure everyone in the class thinks I'm an idiot," stated the still childish Naruto, though the way his chakra flared reminded everyone just how strong he was. "May I ask what's going on here?" shouted Iruka, completely confused as to what was happening around him. Kakashi looked at the chunin teacher like he grew a second head, then it clicked that everyone but the Hokage and Anbu were kept in the dark. He grinned sheepishly, "Not that you could tell. and rubbed the back of his head in an embarrassed way, something that Naruto mirrored. Sure, since we're no longer Anbu, I see no reason why not. Lord Hokage. I see no reason why not, how about you Naruto-kun? Asked the aged Cage. Sure, as long as he promises not to repeat what he hears in this room. Stated Naruto. Iruka was shocked yet again by the tone of voice that his student spoke, a tone he remembered from his days in Anbu, one of complete and total confidence. Iruka nodded dumbly and took a seat, somehow he knew this was going to warrant a seating position well, might as well tell you all the important details first. What do you know about Minato Namikaze? Next day, team assignments. Naruto was sitting top row, as far into a left corner as possible, he was the first one there. He sat waiting for the first person to enter the room, though he had only been there for 5 or 10 minutes, he was extremely bored. Naruto thought to himself, I wonder how long until they question me about why I'm here. I don't exactly have the smartest classmates. Maybe they won't even recognize me. That would be hilarious. The truth is that most people wouldn't recognize him. After he had made it home last night, he had changed his wardrobe. No more was the orange and blue jumpsuit, but instead a modified version of his Anbu uniform. Dark blue cargo pants with an orange stripe, starting from the hip and ending in a point just under the side of his knee. The black muscle shirt almost completely covered by a dark gray Anbu vest. Dark blue arm sleeves that went from his wrist to his elbow, all of which had orange stitching. Black shinobi sandals and the final touch, 2 headbands, the first being the standard leaf headband, rightfully on his forehead. The second was the gold-plated swirl headband, which was tied around his right bicep. If you haven't figured it out yet, it's a headband from Yasushi Agakure. He was still stuck in his musings as one of his classmates entered the room. He looked to see Shino Aburam looking at him with a raised eyebrow, which to an Aburam meant total shock. Naruto chose to ignore him and speak to his tenant. Closing his eyes and resting his head on his forearms, he began to slip into the dreamlike state that granted him access to his slumbering prisoner. Mindscape boy. Fox, wake up, I got a while before I need to do anything, and I have a few questions. Stated Naruto as he walked up to the giant prison cell of the great beast. And just what might those be? I swear, if you repeat any of the questions from last night, threatened the calm yet booming voice of the Nine-Tails Fox. In all honesty, the massive chakra enjoyed his time talking to his container, it was a much better alternative to doing nothing all day. First off, could you find anything about that weird thing that happened on the mission in Grass Country? Asked Naruto, who had been racking his brain for the last 6 months after the event. I have nothing solid, though I do have a hunch, your mother was a full-blooded Uzumaki, correct? Asked the fox. From what I could tell, and my dad was the grandson of your first prison's brother-in-law. What do you think? Asked the hyperactive blonde. It's only a rumor, almost a myth, but a long time ago, there was a family that combined the blood of the Senju and the Uchiha, stated the fox. Yay, the Uzumaki, you already told me this, stated Naruto with a sweat drop. Just making sure you remember. Anyways, it was said that certain members of the family had a strange power that seemed to come from almost nowhere. The only evidence that it even really existed was that the eyes of the person would change slightly. Informed Kyuubi. Define slightly. Is it like the Sharingan? That wouldn't explain everything else. Got anything else? Asked Naruto. Not at the moment, give me some time to look through my memories, I'm sure there has to be something there that fits everything. What was your other question? Asked the fox. Oh, right. How much of your chakra can I use and still be in total control? I think I want to work on that a little bit. Never know when I'll need another trump card. Stated Naruto. Just under 1 tail, your body is still unable to handle any more than that, though you can use 2 tails on your berserker mode. Is that all? Asked the demon. Yep, thanks Kurama. You're a big help, said Naruto as he faded out of his mindscape. Was that a crack at my size? Classroom, wake up. Shouted Kiba into Naruto's ear, who appeared to be sleeping. Why is he even here? We all know he didn't pass the exam, what's he doing here? Asked a girl named Jiraiya, her high voice hurting everyone else's ears. He probably thinks just because he's dressed like an Anbu that they'll let him on a team, stated a boy named Trout. Everyone sit down and shut up. Shouted Iruka as he entered the classroom. Okay, I have a major headache and I would like to get this over with. Just remember that I am proud of all of you for passing and being on your way to your ninja career. Hey Iruka-sensei. Naruto didn't graduate, why is he here? Shouted Kiba as he pointed to the blonde in the back left corner of the room, who appeared to have just woken up. Iruka looked towards the smirking Naruto. Something about the smirk on his face and that he didn't really care for Kiba picking on a fellow ninja made Iruka want to go along with his own little prank. And that's odd. He has a headband. And he's on the list, even assigned to a team, but if Kiba said it, it must be true. I'm sorry Naruto, but you're just going to have to put up with idiots the rest of your life. Everyone was stunned, Iruka just made fun of a class member. And he said that Naruto had actually passed. Was it opposite day? Now that that's over, Team 1 is Naruto zoned out at this point, not caring until his name was called Team 7, led by Kakashi Hatake, Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno and Naruto Uzumaki. Oh no. I'm on the team with the class idiot. At least I still have my Sasuke-kun. Screeched Sakura, her voice actually breaking a glass on Iruka's desk. At this point, Naruto had no need to stay in the class, seeing how he knew exactly where his old Anbu commander was, so he got up and left, though not before he spoke his mind. Oh no. I have the class bitch on my team. But at least I get an ex-Anbu captain as my sensei, that should even out the pain. And he left, walking right out the door, leaving a stunned classroom. -5 minutes later, Memorial Stone. Hey captain, how's the rock? Asked Naruto, his eyes tracking to his mother's and father's names. Now Naruto, no need to call me that anymore, now I'm Kakashi-sensei, stated Kakashi with an eye smile. Whatever you say senpai, but we should probably get to the academy, I'm sure the Banshee and Duck Ass are going apeshit right now, I didn't make the best first impression as a teammate, stated Naruto. I think now is a good time to start the test. -45 minutes later, classroom. Sakura was pissed, not only did the class idiot make her look bad, but her sensei was late and the idiot was nowhere to be found. Sasuke wasn't as pissed, he got to see one of his fangirls taken down a peg, that was nice, but his sensei was late, so the two evened out. All of a sudden the door opened, but to their displeasure it was just their idiot teammate. Oi, Kakashi wants you two on the roof in 5 minutes then, Naruto poofed away, confusing the two genin. Naruto couldn't do the clone technique. -5 minutes later, on the roof. They aren't going to get here on time, they're too self-centered to take orders from me, stated Naruto tiredly. It was like he was a recruit all over again. Then this should work perfectly, don't worry, have I ever let you down before? Asked Kakashi, flipping a page in his book. Demon Country, stated Naruto. Okay, you said you were going to let that go. Stated Kakashi. And I will, right after you teach me it, not a moment sooner, stated Naruto. Fine, we can start tomorrow before the test. Stated the copy nin. What test? And what are you teaching the dope that I'm not learning? It was Sasuke, he was just making his way out the door onto the roof, followed by the Banshee. The test you two already lost 3 points out of 10 on, stated Kakashi. What's it for? What did the three of us do to get 3 points off for? Asked Sakura. First off, just the two of you got points off, Naruto did as ordered, so he doesn't lose points, stated Kakashi. What was the order? Asked Sakura. Naruto told you to be on the roof in 5 minutes, you took 7, explained Kakashi. Why do I have to take orders from the idiot? I'm twice the ninja he is, screeched Sakura. And 2 more points off, you are both now at 5 out of 10 points, laughed Kakashi. What is this test for? Asked Sasuke, his tone pissed. The test is to see if any of the three of you get to be on my genin team, if you pass the test, you're in the team, if you fail, you go back to the academy. Stated Kakashi in a very bored manner. You can't do that. A genin team has to have 3 genin and 1 jonin. Screeched Sakura. First off, I don't have to do anything, second, I can choose to select an apprentice if I want, leaving 2 of you to go back to the academy. Now shut up, it's time for introductions. You first, Pinky, stated Kakashi. Why don't you go first, sensei? So we know what to say. Asked Sakura. Okay, my name is Kakashi Hatake, my hobbies not going to say, my likes don't care to share, my dislikes are traitors and thieves, my dream is to teach the next Hokage and get a date with a certain big-chested jounin. Alright, now your turn. My name is Sakura Haruno, my hobbies Ari looks over at emo boy, my likes Ari looks back at Sasuke, my dislikes are Naruto Baka and Ino Pig, and my dream is Tio once again. Uchiha, you're up. My name is Sasuke Uchiha, I have no hobbies, I don't have many things I like, there are many things I don't like, and my dream is not a dream, it will happen, I'm going to kill a certain someone, then rebuild my clan. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, my hobbies are none of your business, my likes don't concern you, my dislikes are traitors, thieves and idiots, my dream is to become Hokage and restore my clan. Though you don't have a clan. You're an orphan, stated Sasuke smugly. Naruto grit his teeth and looked at Kakashi, who simply nodded. Naruto disappeared in a seal-less body flicker. If you two want to live, I suggest you don't piss him off, he's killed more people than you've met. Training ground 7, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, be there. And with that, Kakashi disappeared in a swirl of leaves. What do you think he meant by that? Next day, training ground 7, noon. Naruto and Kakashi had been working on it for the last 2 hours, so it was easy to see where they lost track of time. Sakura and Sasuke, however, were not amused. You're late. Screeched the pink-haired girl. Sorry, I killed my alarm clock and had to give it a proper burial. Stated Kakashi with an eye smile, though the loud cough from Naruto ruined the mood. Blair. She shouted again. Now that we're all here, it's time I explain the test. There are 2 bells, holds-up bells, that you must take from me by 3 o'clock, that gives you 3 hours. If you fail to get a bell, then you lose 5 points. There are also other penalties, but those are all common sense. Naruto, you don't have to participate in this exam, I already know you can complete it, stated Kakashi. Naruto nodded and started walking away. How come the dope gets a free ride when I, Uchiha, don't? Asked Sasuke smugly. Because I've known Naruto his whole life and know mostly what he is capable of, and if you both pass this test, then I'm sure Naruto will fill you in on a little bit more about himself. Right, Naruto? Asked the copy ninja. If they pass, I'd be glad to, stated Naruto with a knowing smirk. Then begin. Minus 2 hours later, Sasuke was getting pissed off. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't get a damn bell. He had tried every approach possible, but couldn't get to a bell. How was he supposed to do it alone? Then it hit him, the point of the exercise wasn't to get the bell by yourself, but to get it with teamwork. He moved quickly to his blonde teammate, reminding himself that he was only using Naruto as a pawn to pass the test. Hey dope, help me out to get the bell. Asked Sasuke. Naruto had been surprised it had been a request instead of a demand. Say please, stated Naruto with nothing but cold and ruthless confidence in his voice. Fine, please help me get the bell. Asked Sasuke, though it was painful for him to ask for help from a non-Uchiha. Sure, you got a plan. Minus 55 minutes later, Naruto threw a wicked spinning back kick, a move he most likely got from Guy, at the head of Kakashi, forcing him to take his eyes off Sasuke, but he wasn't an anbu for nothing and could see through the trick that the pair was using. Naruto would distract and Sasuke would make a grab for the bells. I might have work against a chunin, maybe even a fresh jounin, but not Kakashi. As they went for their last attempt, the alarm sounded, leaving the duo short a bell. I must say, you did far better than expected, but no bell. So I'm going to go ahead and tie one of you to the post. However, I'm feeling a little off today, maybe it's because I haven't killed anyone this month. Oh well, I'm giving you one more chance after lunch, so get ready. Naruto, tie Sakura to the post. She didn't try at all during the test, also she doesn't get any food, and gag her too. My head still hurts from her yelling. I'll be back in an hour, and with that, he poofed away. Wow, he really is off today. Never would have thought he would give you another shot, but it won't matter, he's too fast for the two of us, stated Naruto, lying through his teeth. What about Sakura? I'm sure she can at least be enough of a distraction for me to get the bells. Stated Sasuke. But she's running on empty, she would be useless unless you feed her, stated Naruto. That's the only way to get out of this situation. Fine. Open up, Sakura, we need you at full go to pass, stated Sasuke as he took the gag off. All of a sudden, the sky turned dark and Kakashi appeared from nowhere. I told you not to feed her. You disobey in order to feed her. Yeah, you pass. Now, 3 things happened when Kakashi said that. First, both Sasuke and Sakura yelled what? Second, Naruto handed Kakashi 50 ryo. And third, Kakashi explained. The point of this exercise is to work as a team. Which you did by giving Sakura food when I told you not to. In the ninja world, those that don't follow the rules are trash, but those that abandon teammates are worse than trash. I learned that lesson the hard way, and I still suffer from my mistakes I made, stated a depressed Kakashi. What happened, Kakashi-sensei? Asked Sakura. Naruto put a hand on Kakashi's shoulder, silently asking for permission to tell his story. He shook his head no. Maybe later, it's not a pleasant story, but since you did pass, Naruto, would you like to fill them in? He finished with an eye smile. Ugh, yeah, might as well get it over with first. Understand, if either of you speak of what you hear here, you will be killed. This is an S-rank secret. Do you both understand? He watched them nod their heads in awe. I'm not who I appear, though my name is Naruto Uzumaki. I do love ramen, orange and pranking, the rest of what you know of me is a lie. I'm not the dead last of our class, in fact I wasn't even a true student of that class. It was a cover to hide that I was, in fact, anbu. But you couldn't even do a simple clone. There's no way you were an anbu if Sasuke-kun wasn't. Screeched Sakura. Shut up, though Sasuke may have been the best in the academy, I was the best in the class. The reason my grades sucked were a combination of not caring, always being tired, and choosing to make myself look bad. I was an anbu recruit at 7 years old. During that time I wore the puppy mask, showing I was Kakashi's apprentice. I became a full-fledged member at 11, at which time I earned the fox mask and owned 3 anbu records. Kakashi was one of my captains and has been training me along with several other members since I was 5. I have more chakra than all 3 of you combined, and I could pick apart our whole graduating class in a maximum of 3 minutes. Even if that was true, what records could you hold? Questioned Sasuke arrogantly. Kakashi, wanna fill them in? I get enough gruff at HQ over them. Asked Naruto. Gladly. First, fastest takeover of a bandit camp, 6 minutes 37 seconds, beating my sensei's record by a full minute. Second, highest confirmed kill count on a mission, 351, beating Itachi Uchiha's by 13. And the last, and my personal favorite, Naruto is the only person to ever steal Dango from Enko and make it out without a scratch. Stated Kakashi. 351. There's no way you did that. Yelled Sasuke. Itachi didn't even kill that many Uchiha. How could Naruto kill that many people on one mission? Ask anyone in Anbu, stated Kakashi. It was the same mission Naruto set the bandit camp record. He went in by himself, got the hostage out, and killed them all. Wow, whispered Sakura, her whole world turned upside down. The class idiot was extremely powerful. No, all she could go on is hoping that Sasuke was better. Yep, oh well, let's go get lunch, my treat, stated Kakashi as he walked away. It's 4 o'clock, deadpan Naruto. Fine, early dinner, smart ass. Next day, mission assignment office. I don't care about protocol. I am not going to do countless D ranks. Shouted Naruto, getting a snicker from the anbu in the corner of the room. Something funny, Tora. Haha, yep, you have to do D ranks, laughed the anbu named Tora. Oh yay. You're named after that damn cat I most likely have to chase. At this, Kakashi busted out laughing. It had been common knowledge in Anbu that Naruto could one-up almost anyone, well except Kakashi and Anko. Oh shut up brat. Yelled Tora. The fox hunts the cat. Not the other way around, stated Naruto smugly. Just get your mission brat, sighed Tora. 2 weeks later, Naruto's mindscape. Naruto was getting pissed. Not only had he had to do 10 straight D ranks, but he couldn't even train the way he wanted to. He had to do team building exercises because his teammates refused to work with him. Sasuke still had the Uchiha stick up his ass, so he thought he could do everything himself, and Sakura hated that Naruto was better than her Sasuke-kun, so she refused to work with Naruto. On the first mission, Naruto had made fun of Sasuke, and Sakura had tried to hit him like she used to in the academy. Long story short, Naruto blocked the punch, and Sakura found a kunai at her throat before she even registered that Naruto moved. Now he was descending into the depths of his mind to speak to his tenant. Hey Kurama, what's new? Asked Naruto as he walked up to the cage. Hello Warden, I've just been laying around, looking into your question. I've have to say, if what I found out is true, you might finally let me redecorate, stated the fox. What did you find out? Does it have to do with that eye thing you told me about? Asked Naruto. Yes, but it's bigger than we thought. It is a Dijutsu, like the Sharingan, but that's where it gets interesting. My knowledge goes back to when I was created. I've already informed you of that, so I'll skip the details. If you don't know the story behind the tailed beasts, then look it up, it's a pretty cool concept. I looked back through all of mine and my other hosts' memories and found out something shocking. The Uzumaki are not the result of the combination of the Uchiha and the Senju. The Uchiha and Senju were split from the Uzumaki. The Sage of Six Paths was in Uzumaki. Does this mean the Dijutsu is the Rinnegan? Asked Naruto. No, they're two separate entities as far as I can tell. The sage had told his sons that the Rinnegan was the result of the sealing of the Kyuubi. What you have does not have a true name, but it has been called the Cursed Eye. Stated Kyuubi. Why is it called the Cursed Eye? A Kekkei Genkai is a gift, not a curse. Stated Naruto. It's not the eye itself, but the people that get the eye. They stop all their other training and rely on it. Apparently, the eye has 5 different abilities, though I have only found 2 of them. Much like the Sharingan, you unlock each level as you master the last. From what I could tell, you unlocked the first level on the grass mission when you slaughtered that camp of bandits. Bravo, by the way, I really enjoy watching that memory. Just tell me the rest please, asked Naruto. The fox wouldn't let him forget the damn mission. Alright fine, like I said, you've most likely unlocked it already, you just have to trigger it, which I'm not sure how to do that. It might work the same way the Sharingan works, though I'm not sure. The first stage of the eye is basically like the first stage of the Sharingan. It slows down your perception of time and allows you to predict your opponent's next move, though it is unclear if you can copy jutsu. The second stage is, from what I can tell, a boost to your nervous system, reaction time and anything having to do with it are increased. That's all I could manage to find, but it should help. Any questions come back to me. Oh, and you should try to search the ruins of Uzushio. If I remember correctly, there's a secret bunker there that might help. Now get out of here, I need my beauty sleep. Yay, see ya Kurama, said Naruto as he faded out of his mind. At night. Hey Kakashi, how does someone activate the Sharingan once they unlock it? It had been 1 month. One hellacious month from the formation of the new generation of Team 7 to where we find ourselves now. In the last 4 weeks, quite a bit had happened and only a fraction of it good for our favorite blonde. But in the mind of one Naruto Uzumaki, the good far outweighed the bad. During training, Naruto had constantly shown up Sasuke, leaving an ever more pissed off Uchiha and an ever more bitchy, if that's even possible, Sakura. On several occasions Sasuke had challenged Naruto to a fight outside of their usual spars, which Naruto would always decline, then Sasuke would try to force him to fight, only to be humiliated just before becoming even more of a broody brat than usual. During missions, if you could call them that, Naruto had picked up most of the workload, though he was fine with this. Naruto knows that skill is earned through blood, sweat and hard work. So every time a mission called for something physical, he jumped at the chance to work one of his 9 metaphorical tails off. And even he had to admit, the constant work of the hated D-rank, along with his borderline psychotic training program that Kakashi, the Hokage and Jiraiya had planned out for him, was slowly turning his already impressive physical stats to new and very noteworthy levels. He could now stop a full-powered kick from any jonin by catching it in his hand and even stop a kick from Guy, something not many chunin or even jonin for that matter could do. Though Sasuke and Sakura were spiteful to Naruto, he didn't care much at all about either of them, which only served to piss the Uchiha off more. Sasuke would demand to watch him train so that he could learn how he was continuing to leave the Uchiha in the dust, but whenever Naruto trained outside of the team, it was at a private training ground reserved for former and current anbu. About 3 weeks after the team formed, Sasuke had demanded to be trained by anbu the way Naruto had, which made Kakashi, Naruto and even the Hokage laugh at the young Uchiha. Not just for the fact that the Uchiha thought he would get what he demanded, but just thinking about him attempting Naruto's hellacious training program. After his attempt to get the same training as his blonde teammate had failed, he went to his legal guardians, Aka, the elder advisors. That is where we find ourselves now. Council chambers. Sarutobi, you must give Uchiha-sama the training he requests. We need to give our strongest genin every chance to become more powerful. He is too great an asset to let fall by the wayside. Stated Homura, one of the elder advisors. Absolutely not. Even if Sasuke Uchiha was the strongest genin, he could not be trained the way he requests. There are only a handful of ninja in this village that have the stamina and reserves to even think about that training. Stated Sarutobi forcefully. And why is that? He is the last Uchiha. Nothing is out of reach for him. If anyone can do it, it is him. The Sharingan is too important. Stated Homura. Lord Hokage, you said even if he was the strongest genin. Are you saying there is someone stronger than the Uchiha in our ranks as a genin? Asked Inoichi, rather confused that the Uchiha wasn't considered the strongest. Yes, several in fact. Off the top of my head I would say, Niji Hyuga, Rock Lee, Kabuto Yakushi, and the one said training was designed and developed for, Naruto Uzumaki. Sarutobi was cut off. A demon container cannot be stronger than the Uchiha. There is no way it could be possible. He is an orphan. He has no clan. How can he be more powerful? Yelled a nameless civilian. With everyone else in the room that didn't know of Naruto's personal training in anbu, and by both Sarutobi and Kakashi agreeing with the councilman. There is nothing I can say without the proper people here, Tora. Commanded the Hokage. Seconds later an anbu appeared from behind the door. Bring Fox and Dog here at once. Are you sure, sir? Last time trailed off Tora. Yes. Shouted Hiruzen, not wishing to remember the last time he had called either one to a meeting. Hi. Stated Tora as he disappeared to find them. What are you playing at? There is no Fox operative, he was released from duty almost a month ago. Stated Danzo, his face showing no emotion, though he was rather curious, he knew exactly whom Fox was, the only person allowed to wear the Fox mask was the container of the Kyuubi, and since Kushina had died years ago. Yes, you are correct, but please Danzo, would you inform the council on Fox and his exploits? I'm sure it will help clear things up when the time comes, asked Sarutobi, his tone far too calm for the Warhawk's liking. Danzo nodded and started. Fox was a covert anbu operative that appeared in our ranks little over 3 years ago. During his time in anbu he made huge strides in the areas of stealth, speed, tactics, and to top it all off, he was a juggernaut. Set 2 records on one mission for wiping out a bandit camp in the fastest time ever and killing over 350 enemies in just under 7 minutes. Fox is also said to be the only person ever to steal Dango from Anko Mitarashi and come away without even a scratch. Why is this important? Asked a truly curious Danzo. This is why, Dog, Fox, you may show yourselves now. The moment he was done talking, 2 people dropped down behind him, one tall, wearing a dog mask, the other short, wearing a fox mask, both standing at attention awaiting their orders. Everyone in the room was stunned. Not one, but 2 people were able to infiltrate a meeting without anyone but the Hokage noticing them. Remove your masks and take a seat, there is much we need to discuss, he said, pointing to the set of chairs at the opposite end of the table. Hi, Hokage-sama, the anbu said in unison as they removed their masks and took up spots at the end of the table. Everyone on the council was shocked silent. Not only that one of the operatives was Kakashi Haddock, but the other operative, Fox, the one that they had all heard about minutes ago, was none other than Naruto Uzumaki, the demon container. After a moment of blaring silence, the first person decided to speak up. Unfortunately for everyone, it was Councilwoman Haruno. Hokage-sama. The demon brat is impersonating an anbu. Arrest him. She screeched. I can assure you that he is not impersonating anything. Naruto Uzumaki is Fox, just as his mother Kushina Uzumaki was Fox. Assured Sarutobi, fully aware that he basically just handed them Naruto's heritage on a silver platter. There was several murmurs until one man finally spoke up. I was unaware that Lady Kushina had a child, though that would explain his personality, started Shikaku Nara, but if he is a true Uzumaki shouldn't he have red hair, not blonde? Oh my god. What's wrong, Shikaku? You feel sick? asked his longtime friend Chauza Akimichi. In a sense, yes. Who was Kishino always seen around? Asked Shikaku, his face pale. There was a moment of thought before someone answered the yondaime. Why is this important? Asked a civilian. What color was his hair and eyes? Asked Shikaku. Naruto smirked, someone had finally figured it out. Unfortunately, this was sure to start an uproar in the village when it got out. Blonde hair, Blue Inoichi and everyone else left out of the loop, froze at the sudden realization. The demon child couldn't possibly be his son, could he? You people really run Konoha? I figured out who my parents were and that I contained the Kyuubi by myself when I was 6. How could you not figure it out until the smartest man in the village pointed it out? Asked a smirking Naruto while pointing at the Nara clan head. There was silence until Sarutobi spoke. Everything just revealed is an S-rank secret. If any one of you but myself or Naruto tell anyone about this, you will be killed on sight, am I understood? Your title as a counselor will not save you, nor will your being a clan head or an elder. Sarutobi, surely that boy is not Minato's son. Pleaded Hamura, though he already knew it was true. The only blondes in Konoha were the Yamanaka, Namikaze or the Senju. Yes, his true name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, current clan head of both the Uzumaki and Namikaze clan. Stated Sarutobi. How can he be a clan head? He is far too young, and there is no really proof that he is truly related to either Kishino or Minato, stated Kaharu, making almost the whole council give her the "are you fucking retarded?" Look, well, Kakashi was made a clan head when he was 7, so it's not a matter of age, and I have the DNA test to prove who his parents were, so I guess that means that Naruto is the clan head of both the Namikaze and Uzumaki. Stated Sarutobi with a hint of satisfaction in his voice. Next day, training ground 7. Naruto and Sasuke were currently sparring in a Taijutsu-only match. It looked that they were evenly matched, but only Sakura would be dumb enough to believe that. The truth was that while Sasuke was going at about 90%, Naruto was going at about 25%. But the fact remained that both Naruto and Sasuke were improving rapidly. In the field of Taijutsu, Sasuke was already high genin, and outside of Naruto, he was by far the best from their graduation test. Though while Sasuke was high genin, Naruto was mid-jonin and rapidly on his way to anbu levels. The spar ended when Naruto landed a bone-jarring kick to the gut of Sasuke. Alright you two, that's enough for today. I'm very impressed. Out of the three of you I'd say that Sasuke has improved the most over the last month, not to say that Naruto and Sakura haven't improved. It was a lie, and everyone but Sakura and the still delusional Sasuke knew it. I believe this calls for a treat. Be at the Hokage Tower by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I think it's time for a C rank. Stated the lazy nin. About time, stated Naruto as he stretched out. For once I agree with you, dope, added Sasuke, though it lacked its usual venom, something easily picked up by both ex-anbu. At any rate, to reward you for your hard work, I'm teaching Sasuke and Sakura each a jutsu. Stated Kakashi happily. Why only us, does the dope already know it? Asked Sasuke, generally curious. It always seemed like Kakashi was more willing to help Naruto instead of him. Nope, you've both been working very hard, and I think you deserve it. Naruto has been slacking so he doesn't get it like Kakashi, as he made 2 shadow clone Sasuke. You will be learning a reliable genjutsu. It's the skill set that you have the most trouble with, so we're going to try and fix that. Sakura, you're going to be learning the shadow shuriken jutsu. They both nodded and followed a clone to different locations. Now that I've gotten rid of them, why don't we see how far along this little secret of yours is? Asked Kakashi. Naruto had asked how to activate the Sharingan in hopes that it would work the same for his Taijutsu. Luckily, it turned out to work perfectly, and now Naruto could activate it anytime he wanted. Flashback, 2 weeks ago, Kakashi's house. It is not well known, but the Haddock family was really a clan of lightning users. They were at the peak of their power during the First Great Shinobi War, but died down in the Second, and after the Third War only Kakashi was left in Konoha. A distant cousin was believed to be in Kiri, but there was no proof. The others had left during the Second War and, like the remaining Uzumaki, scattered to the winds. This left the rather modest compound to Kakashi. Currently, Naruto and Kakashi were sitting in the living room. Again? Asked Kakashi, his book lay in his lap. How do you activate the Sharingan once it's unlocked? Remember the mission in grass, how I reached levels with my fighting I still can't match. Kyuubi thinks I may have a near extinct Taijutsu. Explained Naruto. Kakashi knew about the mission, hell, he was the commanding officer. He also knew that Naruto spoke to the Kyuubi, so neither surprised him too greatly. But hearing that Naruto might have a Taijutsu was a little much, though when you've pretty much watched the kid grow up you stopped being surprised. From what I know, you just send chakra to your eyes and think about them activating. That's how Itachi showed me to do it, though it's too much trouble to reactivate it once I power it down. Naruto tried it and amazingly it worked. The world around him seemed to slow down and everything seemed clear. Do my eyes look any different? Asked Naruto. Kakashi studied them for a minute. They responded with, there's a white diamond shape in the iris, colored part of your eye. Like the Sharingan has Tomo channel some more chakra into your eyes. Naruto did as told and watched his sensei fall into a trance-like state. Kakashi? You okay? Asked the blonde as he stopped the extra flow of chakra to his eyes. It took a minute for Kakashi to respond. Go to the bathroom and look in the mirror. You'll see what I saw, he said cryptically and sat back down in the couch he was sitting on before and rested his head in his palms. Naruto was confused by this, but did as instructed. He got up and made his way toward the bathroom at what felt like a slow pace. He realized that while his eyes were activated, everything seemed much slower, even his own movements felt slower. But they also felt more precise, almost robotic. It felt like there was no wasted movement. When he finally made it to the bathroom and looked in the mirror, he was stunned. Though his eyes were the same color as usual, his pupil was slightly larger, and in the iris of each eye there was one elongated diamond, both on the side facing away from his nose. The diamond had no color, or rather, it was the same off-white was the rest of his eye. He had to admit, they looked cool, he thought cooler than the Sharingan he had seen on Itachi and Kakashi. Then he remembered that Kakashi had told him to channel more chakra to his eyes, so he did, but what he found wasn't what he had expected. The diamonds started to rotate around his pupil, they started to look like swirling water, almost a whirlpool in the middle of his eye. He noticed the more chakra he used the faster the diamonds would spin, until he could feel himself losing focus, almost like he was being drawn into them. After a minute, he looked around and saw he was no longer in Kakashi's bathroom, but instead in the sewers that held the Kyuubi. He was shocked to find himself there, because he didn't try to come here. He started looking around for the fox but couldn't find anything, he was in a completely different section of his mind. He couldn't make heads or tails of what he was seeing, so he returned to the real world. Naruto? You alright? Asked the worried Kakashi as he helped the blonde up off the floor. Yay, I'm fine, what happened to you when my eyes started spinning? Asked Naruto. Maybe he was just so entranced by the eyes that he ended up sending himself to his mind. It was like looking down into a maelstrom of water, after a while it felt like I was being pulled into a void or something. Did the same thing happen to you? Asked Kakashi, still recovering from whatever Naruto's eyes had done. I was sucked into my mind, it was weird though, it was a part I have never been in before. What's a maelstrom? Asked Naruto. Then flashback. Alright, first we spar without it, then with it, pure taijutsu. Let's go. Stated Kakashi as both he and Naruto dropped into a stance, Kakashi using the Goken, which Guy had taught him. Naruto however, used a familiar stance to Kakashi, the stance of a taijutsu that was never named, the taijutsu that Minato Namikaze created. Go. In a burst of speed, Naruto took off, almost faster than Kakashi could track almost. Kakashi blocked a kick to his chest and paired a punch to the face before taking a full-body shoulder slam to his sternum. Kakashi held his ground, if just barely, from the surprise shoulder strike and retaliated with a vicious backhand that Naruto could react to in time and took the full force of it into his cheek. Very good, I'd say you're about low to mid-jonin in taijutsu. Now let's see what you can do with the eyes. Next day, training ground 7857. Once again, Sasuke and Sakura were standing by the posts of the training field, waiting for their teammate and sensei. It was a common occurrence, Kakashi was always late and Naruto was either with him or arrived 5 to 10 minutes before the copy-nin. The day was their first C-rank mission, and they really didn't want to be late, even if they thought that the other two would most likely be late anyways. So how long until Dobe and Sensei are here? Sasuke asked Sakura, much to the surprise of the pink-haired banshee. He wouldn't admit it, but she was the one person on the team he could stand. Even though he disliked the blonde nin, he was developing an amount of respect for him, even going as far as to see him as a rival. Right about now. Came two lazy voices behind them. They turned to see both Naruto and Kakashi sitting on a post, looking rather bored. Kakashi reading the newest Icha and Naruto reading an old green-covered novel. You're here on time? Questioned Sakura in shock, neither of them had been there on time all month, why did they start now? Yep, now let's go get that C rank, stated Kakashi as he hopped off the post and started to walk away, still reading the smut. He was followed closely by Naruto, who was still reading the old green novel. Minus 15 minutes later, mission assignment desk. Hey, Iruka-sensei, Jiji, how you been? Asked Naruto as he approached the desk and put the book in his utility pouch. I'm fine Naruto, how about you? Asked Iruka, startled that Naruto would be reading anything that wasn't ninja related. Ready for another D rank? Asked the anbu in the corner of the room. Shut it bore. I'm done with D ranks. We're here for a C rank, stated Naruto, knowing that it wasn't that big of an upgrade. Wow. So instead of walking a dog you'll be an errand boy. That's amazing. Stated Boar, his words laced with sarcasm. Hey Boar, who won last time? Asked a smirking Naruto. Oh cram it. How the hell am I supposed to beat 1,000 clones? Stated a very angry Boar, still trying to recover some pride from the beating he took from the blonde during a spar 4 months ago. Kakashi can do it, stated Naruto while pointing at his ex-captain. This time Boar fell silent, though it was obvious he was mouthing something behind his mask, most likely swear words. As much as I like watching Genin one-up my anbu, stated a chuckling Sarutobi, I think it's time to give you your assignment, you can come in now, Tazuna. From the waiting area came a rather plump gray-haired man, nursing a bottle of sake. These brats and the scarecrow are going to protect me? I have a hard time believing that. Unless you're expecting more than a couple of bandits, we will be fine. Stated Naruto, shooting a glance at Kakashi, which he picked up without anyone else noticing. Alright, I guess, we leave in 1 hour. Stated the fat drunk as he walked out of the room, most likely to get his belongings from whatever hotel he was staying at. You heard him, gather enough supplies for a 2-week trip. Bring any weapons you think necessary. Stated Kakashi as he gave the silent command for Naruto to follow him. Minus 30 minutes later, had a compound. After they left the mission's office, Naruto and Kakashi went to the shinobi supply store to get a new set of kunai and a couple of training supplies. Then they headed to Kakashi's compound to discuss the mission. So you think that there's more here than meets the eye? I'm proud to call you my student. Kakashi stated with an eye smile. Yay, if he was just afraid of bandits there wouldn't be any worry, that's why I think he's lying to us. I checked with Bookworm, Wave has been in an economic freefall ever since all the shipping companies were bought up by some company 2 years ago. I'm willing to bet that whoever is behind the company doesn't want this bridge built. Deducted Naruto. Anyone with the kind of money it would take to run roughshod over a whole country could afford some heavy hitters to take out a target. Should we still take the mission? Pondered the lazy nin aloud. We have to, we have no proof that this mission isn't legitimate and it would make Konoha seem weak if we turn down this mission, stated Naruto. Then we're going to need a plan in case things head south. Minus 15 minutes later, at the gate. Everyone here? Good, let's move out, stated Kakashi. Not even waiting for a response. Sakura and Sasuke followed immediately, not noticing that the blonde was not part of the group. Though this didn't get by Tazuna. Where's the blonde kid? He not coming? Asked a bridge builder. No, he'll catch up, he said something about needing to fuel up, then headed off to his favorite ramen stand. He should catch up in about 2 hours. Stated Kakashi nonchalantly. Tazuna had his doubts until he saw the look on the other genin faces. It was the look of complete understanding with a healthy dose of happiness. An hour and a half later, the group of 4 had set a good pace so far and had covered a good chunk of the journey. Though the loud blonde still had not caught up, which even the pink-haired banshee had picked up by now, and being a WQI, woman of questionable intelligence, she had to blurt out the fact that she had finally caught up to the situation. Hey Kakashi-sensei. Where's Naruto? He should have been here by now. She asked loudly, much to the annoyance of the males in the group. He will be here when he is needed. He did this on the air rank in grass country, and you both know how that turned out, stated the bored Kakashi. What happened? Asked Tazuna. To hear that the blonde had been on an air rank was very reassuring, if only he was here with them. He was supposed to meet up with us after another mission, but got caught up with a missing nin. By the time he got to the camp we were staking out, one of our operatives had been captured. The man captured was one of the few people in Naruto's life that has always looked after him. He felt it was his fault because he didn't make it on time. He snuck in and got the operative out. Unfortunately, they had tortured him to give the information. When Naruto saw what had been done to him in order to gain information, he flipped and went back in to kill everyone in the camp, 325 bandits and 26 missing ninja. Well, that's all we could count, but from the math we did it was more than that. He said with a hint of fear in his voice, his mind flashing to the horror that befell the bandits. What do you mean that all we could count and the math we did was more than that? Asked Sasuke. We could only find about 300 full bodies, but it was reported that there were over 600 people in the camp and we were positive that no one escaped, stated a now depressed Kakashi, shocking everyone. Full bodies? What's does that mean? Asked the shocked Sakura. That's how many bodies still had their heads, Kakashi said with a very uncharacteristic crack in his voice. I was a jonin during the Third Great War and watched Minato-sensei devastate Iwa's army, but I've never seen anything as gruesome as what Naruto does to anyone who hurts the people close to him, and it's not the only time he's done it. Now if you don't mind I'd like to stop talking about it, stated Kakashi. No one wanted to continue to talk about that subject, thought one of them was deep in thought. How could Naruto do something like that? All because those people hurt someone close to him. But he seems so tame then again, so did Itachi? Wait, is that what happened to Itachi? Wondered Sasuke, remembering one of Itachi's friends going missing and a week later Itachi killing off the clan. Half an hour later, the group was still in a lull from what they had heard about their young blonde acquaintance. They had just walked past a puddle, but only Kakashi had noticed it. Just after they had made it past the puddle, 2 figures seemingly grew out of the small pool of water and shot towards the traveling group. End of chapter. The 2 dark-clad figures had just appeared behind the group out of an unnatural puddle. They sent a glance at each other and that seemed to be the only thing needed to launch their assault. They took off, a chain connecting the gauntlets on their wrist. The chain proved useful. As they charged the group, they were able to wrap the legendary copy nin in the razor-sharp chain, and with a vicious pull of their arms, the chain ripped him into a plethora of Kakashi chunks. Both Sakura and Sasuke were frozen in fear, their sensei was just killed, and their teammate was nowhere to be found. Sasuke began to wonder if he had also been killed as he tried to catch up. Sasuke quickly rediscovered his ego and began to charge the duo recklessly, after all, he was in Uchiha, and for some reason, Sasuke thought that made him invincible. As he neared the offending ninja, they moved faster than he could react, and they both backhanded the last Uchiha away like a fly. Sakura was now panicking, her sensei was dead, her crush was just bitch-slapped, and although she wouldn't admit it, her only hope was a boy, no, a man named Naruto. The duo charged her, and although she was on the verge of pissing herself, she held her ground. As they drew closer, she closed her eyes and waited for the end. She waited for what seemed like hours, though it was by a second, until she heard a sound she was unfamiliar with. It sounded like a sword being sheathed, but along with the sound was the sound of gurgling. Curiosity got the better of her, and she opened her eyes to see what it was. What he saw shocked her. In front of her, the two men stood motionless, seemingly frozen in time, with a mixture of shock and fear on their faces. They both toppled over to reveal her teammate Naruto, and the look in his eyes sent her mind deeper into shock. It was the look she had heard her father speak about, the look of a man that just protected something he considered precious, though at the same time it was mixed with something that just didn't fit on Naruto's face, sorrow. Then Naruto? She questioned, then looked at the men that had attacked, a kunai in the base of both of their skulls. You both alright? Even his tone seemed like it didn't belong to the blonde idiot that she was teamed with. Fine, stated Sasuke with a hint of venom in his voice, just returning from the bitch-slapped-induced flight. Good, then we can continue the mission, stated Naruto as he made three hand signs. When he was done, Kakashi appeared out of nowhere, reading his book, but I think it's time that Tazuna tells us why he lied about the mission details. Minus 45 minutes later, Hokage's office. The Sandaime was currently battling the second greatest enemy to mankind, a creature far worse than any experiment created by the traitorous snakes in paperwork. He was absent-mindedly wondering how much more paperwork he would have to do if he torched all of the paperwork. He was pulled from his musings as an anbu appeared before him. Lord Hokage, we've just received word from a team on a C rank, seems the mission has been upgraded to at least an A rank. What are we to do? Asked the Baki-masked anbu. What team? He asked absent-mindedly. Team 7, sir. Though they haven't asked for any help, just for us to retrieve 2 bodies. Answered the anbu. Ah, makes sense, thank you for the information, you may go now. Answered the Sandaime, not showing any worry at all. If it was any other genin team, he would send backup immediately. However, this was Kakashi's team, which meant Naruto was also there, and those two alone could handle almost any A rank. Minus 55 minutes later, border of the Land of Fire. So we just need to wait for a boat. Well, I'm going to take a nap, wake me up when it gets here, stated Naruto as he dropped where he stood and covered his eyes with his Konoha headband. How can you just sleep? There's a man out there trying to get us all killed and you're about to take a nap? Asked Sakura. It wasn't yelling at him, she was truly curious as to how Naruto could be so calm. After all, Tazuna had informed them about Geto and his criminal empire after the demon brothers attacked, who, by the way, Naruto killed. Yep, was all he answered with as he started to drift off. Sorry Naruto, your beauty sleep will need to wait, it seems the boat has arrived, stated aboard Kakashi, though he was smirking under his mask. Crap. Was all Naruto said as he got up and made his way over to the shore where the boat was about to land. Minus 35 minutes later, shore of the Land of Waves. Naruto, Formation K was the command delivered by Kakashi. Naruto nodded and shot off into the woods next to the path they would be traveling. Why is Naruto going into the woods? Wouldn't he be better with us? Asked Tazuna. No, Naruto specializes in stealth, information gathering and being a juggernaut to hit the enemy after the fight starts. That's why he wasn't with us until the demon brothers attacked, he was watching from a distance. Explained Kakashi. His stealth is also to the point that he could sneak up on my replacement and current anbu commander, an anbu named Tora. Minus 42 minutes later, 10 minutes from Tazuna's house. Everybody down, yelled Kakashi as he tackled Tazuna. Sakura and Sasuke soon followed in the act of hitting the deck. They were lucky to do so, because a giant cleaver-like sword flew through the area once occupied by their necks and stuck into the tree behind them. They turned to see a man standing on the sword's handle, facing away from them. Hand over the bridge builder and I'll leave you 3 alone, stated the odd man in a gravel-like voice. Dabuza Mamachi, a rank missing nin from the Land of Water, wanted for the assassination attempt of the Yondaime Mizukage. What a pleasure to finally see you again, you won't walk away from me twice, came a disemboweled voice from almost everywhere at once. There were only 3 idiots that would talk to me like that, kiss him, who I know you're not. Raiga, you're not crazy enough to be him. And finally that fox bastard who killed my second apprentice. So why don't you show yourself before I kill your comrades? Listed off Zabuza. Why don't you show your little hidden anbu? I'm sure that he's here, if he shows, I show. Came the same disembodied voice as before. Sakura and Sasuke along with Tazuna were both shocked and confused. Did the kid know this maniac? Don't know what you're talking about, I'm a lone wolf after you literally tore Tumane's head off, so why don't we settle this like men? You and me, so I can finally get revenge for my apprentice. Barked out Zabuza. How about a deal, if I win, you join us, if you beat us, well it's obvious what would happen, then stated the voice, with Naruto slowly sneaking up behind him. Ha, you got yourself a deal kid, if you win, I'll join you, but I decide when I'm beaten, now show yourself. Yelled Zabuza. Gladly came a ghostly whisper behind Zabuza, he spun around almost too fast to see and swung his massive sword, cutting Naruto in half. Or so it seemed. The moment before the sword connected, Naruto turned into an outline. What? An afterimage? Shouted Sasuke, he had only heard of people that fast, he always thought it was a myth. I must admit, you're better than last time, but then again, so am I, he stated while flashing through hand sign hidden mist jutsu. The air became thick with mist and chakra, separating Naruto from the view of his team. There was a loud clang of metal on metal, followed by a taunt. Zabuza, this mist won't help as much as you think it will, I was a member of Anbu, don't take me lightly. Sasuke was scared shitless, the pure amount of killing intent rolling, no, exploding off of the blonde and the swordsman, were almost too much for him. He brought a kunai up to his throat and was about to plunge it into his jugular when Kakashi grabbed his hand and pulled the kunai away. Don't be a coward, you're a leaf shinobi, act like it. Hunk, you're dead. Shouted Zabuza as he brought his blade around once again. Naruto had to wonder just what kind of strength one would need to be whipping around a blade that big, sometimes even with one hand. Naruto knew he had to go all out to even have a hope of winning this little battle. He silently released his weights and activated his eyes. Just as his eyes started to draw chakra, he felt it, he somehow unlocked the second level of his eyes. It felt like his whole body was energized, even with the first stage of his eyes, he felt like he was moving at his normal speeds, and combining the first and second levels of the eyes, produced an incredible ability. The first level's ability to slow down his perception of time, along with the ability to predict attacks, along with the second, a boosted nervous system that allowed faster reaction time and swifter movements, were an incredible advantage. Zabuza was getting pissed, he just could not hit this kid, he could react far too quickly. Zabuza increased the mist to the point that Naruto quite literally couldn't see past his nose, but thanks to his ability to predict attacks along with his increased reflexes and anbu training, kept him from being caught by the edge of the sword, but not by much. How can you keep dodging me, god damn it. It's a secret, but I'll tell you when you join us, stated Naruto as he dodged another swing, silently deciding he needed to end this, or he might lose his life. You're never going to beat me kid, not even if there were 100 of you, stated Zabuza as he continued his onslaught of slashes. Now there's an idea. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. In less than a second about 300 Narutos appeared in a plume of smoke, let's even the playing field, wind release, great breakthrough. An amazing wind literally blew the mist away. Kakashi, let's finish this, formation 2. After he said that, Kakashi appeared by his side. Formation 2, huh? You're finally done messing around then. Let's end this. He said lazily. Same as Demon Country, bring the heat. Fire style, Great Fire Dragon Bullet. Wind release, Tornado Dragon. The two powerful jutsu combined to make a raging inferno of a dragon. Water style, Water Wall Jutsu. The wall of water was just able to stop the fire side of the attack. Unfortunately for Zabuza, his wall didn't stop the wind dragon, and Zabuza took almost the full force of the dragon to the face chest. He was thrown back into and through a tree. It's over Zabuza, join us and your life will be spared, stated Naruto as he approached the man currently having a large tree in. I guess I've been beaten, you win the bet, I'll go with. Zabuza was cut off by two needles that buried themselves into the neck of Zabuza. Thank you all for keeping him occupied for me, I've been chasing him for the last 3 years. Stated the hunter nin as he appeared from behind a tree. Here, let me help with the decapitation, said Naruto with a knowing smile, then the hunter nin shot forward and grabbed a body of Zabuza and disappeared in poof of smoke. Kakashi, how long have you your headband up? Thump. Kakashi collapsed over, Sharingan still uncovered. That's a good idea. Stated Naruto before his eyes rolled back and he too fell to the ground. Which way to your house, Tazuna? Asked Sakura. Next day, noon. After Naruto and Kakashi had passed out, they were carried to Tazuna's home by Sasuke and Sakura. Kakashi had just woken up, though Naruto was still in a deep sleep, though Kakashi just figured that he was either talking to the fox or having a Raymond dream. Naruto's mindscape. So what are you saying exactly? Asked Naruto. I think the reason you suffered from chakra exhaustion isn't because of the 3 high-powered jutsu you used, but because of the extensive use of your eyes. I don't think you've mastered this new level, and because of that they drew way more chakra than your first stage did, though it's only a theory. You really should ask the Hokage to allow you to go search the ruins of Yuzushiogakure. I bet you could find some answers there, hell I bet that there's a good chunk of that village still standing. Stated the Kyuubi with a bit of a laugh, though Naruto didn't know why, he just filed it under wait for right time. What do you mean mastered? All I needed to do was unlock it right. That's how the Sharingan works. Questioned Naruto. You're right there kid, that is how that damned Sharingan works, but you don't have the Sharingan. Have you decided what you're going to name it yet? Asked the Great Fox, truly curious as to what he would come up with. Don't know. I'm probably just going to wait until I'm able to go to Uzushiogakure. That way I can hopefully get some more information on this thing. Did you just call me kid? Asked Naruto with a raised eyebrow. No, now get out of here, your team is starting to freak you that you're not waking up. Oh and look in the mirror, and with that, Kyuubi faded out of sight and Naruto woke up. Waking world. Naruto? You in there? Asked Sasuke. The only reason he was asking was because Naruto seemed to be switching between emotions like Choji goes through pork barbecue. He's fine, he does that when he dreams about Ramen, lied Kakashi. He knew that Naruto was conversing with the fox, he would have to ask later. It wasn't just about ramen. There was a sea of ramen. But it turned out to be a bunch of snakes. I hate that dream, said Naruto, expertly covering the fact he was conversing with his tenant. Again? Kakashi added to the cover story, that's the second time this month. Maybe you should see your old friend and see what that dream is all about. Yay, that's probably a good idea, though we should probably discuss what to do when Zabuza returns. Stated Naruto. What do you mean? That hunter nin killed him? Questioned Sasuke. No, the area the needles hit couldn't kill, it put him in a death-like state, he's going to be back, and this time Zabuza won't take me lightly, I'm not on his level, and that anbu of his was low chunin last time we fought and uses weird jutsu. Stated Naruto. Well I still can't move, so Naruto, you handle the training. Every morning until I can come help out. Start with tree climbing and whatever else you can think of. Now get going, I have reading to get caught up on, stated the copy nin with an eye smile. Damn you pervy haddock, alright you heard him, get some food and meet me in the clearing on the west side of the house in 45 minutes and get ready for my version of tree climbing, said Naruto with a sadistic grin. Minus 45 minutes later, clearing. Okay, today you will be climbing to the tops of those trees, using only your feet. This workout is a slimmed down version of my anbu workout, stated Naruto, while pointing at 3 tall trees on the edge of the clearing. 2 questions. 1. How the hell do you do that, and 2. How is this going to make me stronger? Asked Sasuke, excited that he would finally get the training that he had demanded a month ago. Focus chakra to the bottom of your feet, use that to form a type of suction to the tree. Too much chakra and you rip the bark off, too little and you fall off. The key is a good understanding of the balance needed for this exercise. To add to the usefulness of this exercise, every time you fail to make it to the top, do 5 push-ups, sit-ups and squats. Mark your progress with a kunai and try to make it to the top in the next 3 days. Go. Instructed Naruto. He watched as Sasuke made it about a fourth of the way before he overloaded the bark and shot off. Wow, it took me an hour to get that far, stated Naruto. He then turned to see Sakura sitting on a tree branch panting. He figured that would happen, she has near perfect control but almost no reserves. Keep going Sakura, when you can't go higher come down and take a 10-minute break, then do your workout. Minus 2 hours later. Sakura. You alright? Asked Naruto. She was laying face down on the ground and every 3 to 4 minutes she would moan in pain. Sasuke was a little better off. He was leaning against a tree with his eyes closed, too tired to actually keep them open. You both did pretty good, almost an entire quarter of my morning workout. The quarter? How the hell is that a quarter? Shouted Sasuke. He had to be lying, no human being could possibly be able to do that times 4. Yep, a quarter, and you didn't even make it to the hard stuff. Come on, I'll carry you both back and give you a medical pill so you can at least move. They both just nodded, they couldn't even move so there wasn't much choice. They both figured he would make a shadow clone each to carry them, they were wrong. Naruto scooped up Sasuke and slung him over his shoulder, while he picked up Sakura bridal style and without using hand signs, disappeared in a swirl of wind. Minus 15 seconds later, Tazuna's living room. Yo. Stated Kakashi, who by this point was able to brace himself against the wall and scoot along, was sitting in a recliner and, much to the dismay of Tsunami, reading his book. How was the training? I had them do my warm-up, it was funny to watch, giggled Naruto. Sakura and Sasuke just grunted as Naruto set them down on the couch absent-mindedly, not realizing he put Sasuke on top of Sakura while they were facing each other. How far did they get? Asked Kakashi. Sasuke can consistently make it up a tree, but he can't seem to stay focused enough to make it all the way. Sakura can make it to the top, but only once, her reserves are minuscule. What do you want them to work on after they're done tomorrow? I was thinking water walking and elemental affinities. We could, and you could still use some work on your wind affinity, so we could do that. I would like to see the trees though, wouldn't you? Asked Kakashi in code. Naruto nodded and lifted Kakashi out of the chair. The two then left through the front door and sat on the porch. "What did you need to say that couldn't be said in there?" asked Naruto. "I would like to ask what you and the fox were talking about this morning, and I was wondering how you could react faster than Zabuza could move," stated Kakashi plainly. "They're two in the same. I was talking to Fluffball about the new level I've unlocked," he said. "I haven't mastered it, so I lost more chakra than I should have," stated Naruto. Let me see your eyes. I think I have a theory," stated Kakashi as he turned to Naruto. Naruto activated his eye to show there was 2 diamonds on one eye, but only one on the other. "I believe that to master a level of your eyes, you have to have the diamond for the other eye, maybe then it won't suck the power right out of your body. Try just using the first level." Naruto did just that and was stunned. The draining he had felt earlier was down to almost a trickle. It's way less than the second stage, but that might be just because the difference in level. "Wanna head back inside? I'm really hungry." "When aren't you hungry?" Zabuza's hideout. "Ah. Son of a bitch. Do you always have to go for the neck?" asked Zabuza as he pulled the needle out of his jugular. "I'm sorry Zabuza-sama, I had to make it look like I had killed you as not to raise suspicion, though they know already, that blonde boy is quite smart," responded Haku. Zabuza sat quiet for a minute, several emotions running through his eyes. He sat up, even though his body was barely able to do so. He hung his head, this was something he really didn't want to do, but he had to think about the future. "Haku, what do you think about the Leaf Village?" -4 days later, bridge, 2 days till Zabuza is back to full. The last 3 days had been what some would call hell, those that would call it that were Sasuke and Sakura. The training regiment had only increased with each passing day. They were now at a level with tree climbing that they could practice on the beams of the bridge, so they all could be on the bridge the whole time. After showing proficient skill in tree walking, Naruto started on stage 2 of his special training regiment, sparring on a horizontal surface upside down. This helped chakra control, reserves, and taijutsu, but also helps with speed and strength, since you're fighting gravity the whole time you're sparring. Needless to say both Sakura and Sasuke were getting much stronger. Though Naruto wasn't slacking, Kakashi had found a way Naruto to train his wind affinity while also working on his water affinity, though it was very taxing, and Naruto could only do this training for about an hour a day. Naruto would make 5 clones and go out in the water. Naruto would stand in the middle of his clones and spin wind chakra around himself, while the clones would spin the water around him making a whirlpool. The real Naruto would hover himself in the middle of the whirlpool while keeping the sides from closing in on him. Overall it was very effective training, but the chakra output of the 5 clones along with his own output was testing even his ridiculous reserves. Currently Kakashi was having them all do physical training by helping out with the bridge building. This served 2 purposes, as the genin would get physically stronger and the bridge was becoming well ahead of schedule due to the genin and Naruto's clones, which would pressure Zabuza to fight earlier than his body was ready for. So far, both ideas seemed to work perfectly. Azuna's home dining room. I hate your poker face Kakashi," stated Naruto as he set his cards down. It was true, when Kakashi had his mask on, which is always, he was unreadable. "Well maybe if you two wore a mask you could play poker like me," suggested Kakashi with an eye smile. "Why do you guys try so hard?" It was a little voice, timid and weak, but you could tell that it once held joy. It was the voice of Tsunami's son, Inari. "'Cause he's won almost half the money I have and I want it back," stated Naruto as he dealt another set of cards. "No, you idiot. Why do you train so hard? Gato is just going to kill you. You have no chance. No one can beat Gato," shouted Inari. "Kid, I've lived through way too much to just roll over and die now. I'm not going to give up until I achieve my goals, so there's no way I'm going to let some smelly midget do what my own village couldn't," stated Naruto with an amount of sadness in his voice. "You think you've lived through a lot. You live in a hidden village. You're a ninja. How could you have had a bad life? There's no way you even know what pain is," shouted Inari. Kakashi's eye widened, this wasn't going to end well, it never ended well. "Hey kid, come outside with me, in fact everyone come outside if you would," stated Naruto with no tone in his voice. Kakashi knew what was coming, it was something no man should witness. Everyone got up and walked out behind the young blonde, Kakashi knew what was coming, and Naruto was smart to bring them all outside. Everyone was now standing in the clearing on the side of the home, waiting for whatever the blonde had in store. "So kid, you don't think I know what suffering is? Let me show you some moments of my life through my eyes. Ninja art, memory vision jutsu." End of chapter. Ninja art, memory vision jutsu. "Naruto, I know what you're thinking, at least explain what they're about to see," begged Kakashi. He was the one who taught Naruto this jutsu, so he knew what was coming. "Fine. In a few moments, you will witness some memories, some through my eyes, others from a third-person view. Any pain I feel, you will feel as a sensation on the corresponding part of your body. In other words, when my arm breaks, your arm will go numb. Now that has been said, let us begin," stated Naruto as he closed his eyes and focused on a string of memories. Konoha, 8 years ago, Naruto age 4. Naruto was running through the streets, a literal mob chasing him. They were gaining on him, shouts of "Die demon" and "Come back here, demon" rang through the air. A volley of rocks and bottles came over his shoulders, though one rock had hit its mark. Said rock cracked Naruto in the back of the head, knocking him to the ground. The mob converged, kicking and punching the poor blonde, breaking his malnourished bones and injuring his internal organs. Just like the beating had started, it stopped as the crowd ran away. The last thing Naruto saw before he blacked out was an anbu with gravity-defying silver hair. Konoha, 7 years ago, Naruto age 5. Naruto was once again running from a crowd, but it wasn't civilians this time, it was ninja. Naruto never stood a chance, he was caught and pulled into an alleyway. He was propped up against the wall and had a kunai hammered into each shoulder, elbow and hand along with his knees to crucify him to the wall. He was then beaten until he blacked out. Konoha, 6 years ago, Naruto age 6. Naruto was tied up and had a bag over his head. He was being thrown into every object that was within range. His body had deep cuts, and the bone of his upper right arm and lower left leg were jutting out of the skin at grotesque angles. Naruto couldn't see, but he could hear the man laughing. Then all of a sudden he heard what sounded like a bunch of birds chirping and a voice that could almost be felt, "Yell Chidori." Naruto waited for his death, but it never came. He was shocked when the rope that had been tying him up was cut off, the bag over his head was removed. He looked up to see who this person was, only to find the same silver-haired anbu that had saved him almost countless times standing over him. He knew he was safe and allowed the darkness to take him, but not before heard the man speak, "Fuck the council and the elders. I'm going to take care of you, Naruto, even if I have to kill them all to do it." Grass Country, year and a half ago, Naruto age 11. Naruto was running full speed toward a bandit camp. He knew he had to get his friend out and he didn't care what it took to do it. He has just found his friend and was sprinting back to base camp so the medics could heal him. He had been tortured. There were burns, cuts and literal holes covering his entire head. On his face there was 2 deep slashes that looked to have even cut the bone. He made it back to base camp and delivered his friend to the medic. Naruto was now standing outside the bandit camp. He created about 50 shadow clones to surround the area to make sure no one escaped. Then, he charged in. All he saw was red. He knew the Kyuubi was filling him to the max with his power, but Naruto didn't care. He was literally tearing through anything that got within his reach, some not even seeing their own death. Anyone who tried to escape was slaughtered by his clones, anyone dumb enough to try to attack him was torn to shreds. After about 7 minutes of pure slaughter, they were all dead, and Naruto collapsed. End of jutsu. Everyone was silent. All but Kakashi and Naruto had puked at least once. "That was a fraction of my pain," stated Naruto in a cold, emotionless voice. "That is my life, what I have lived through and what I have done. Think before you speak, because there's always someone who's had it worse than you. I just pray to God the one that had it worse than me can handle the life they live. I'd hate to see what I would have turned out like without those that cared for me. I'll be back later, Kakashi, code 48." And with that, he left in a swirl of wind. It was almost 10 minutes before anyone could speak again. Tazuna and Kakashi stood silent. Inari, Tsunami and Sakura were sobbing uncontrollably, and Sasuke was shaking like a left. Kakashi-sensei sputtered out Sakura between sobs. "Yes, Sakura?" asked Kakashi stoically, knowing her she would ask if he was making that all up. He was right. "That was just a genjutsu, right?" she asked, almost begged. There was no way that anyone could do that, right? "No, Sakura, everything you've just witnessed was real. That all happened and more, none of that was anywhere near the worst of it," stated Kakashi with a tear rolling out of his eye. What? What could be worse than that?" shouted Sasuke. He thought he had a terrible life with the death of his clan at the hand of his own brother. He would take his life any day over what he saw of Naruto's. And Kakashi just said it got worse. Kakashi hung his head and started shivering. On Naruto's 5th birthday, Kakashi was now crying, something that most think impossible. It was the single most gut-wrenching thing he had never seen. "Me and another anbu, Sasuke's brother Itachi, we're to look over Naruto to make sure he stayed safe. There was a fight at the bar down the street between a few jonin. We went and broke up the fight, but it was just a diversion to get to Naruto." "What happened?" asked Sasuke shakily. Anything that was actually planned out couldn't end well. 4 members of a clan broke into Naruto's apartment. They beat him to near death, and Kakashi couldn't say it, just the thought of the even made him physically sick, not just at the men who did it, but the fact he couldn't stop it. "They what? What did they do?" asked Sakura, bawling even harder than before. "They raped him." Next day, Tazuna's kitchen. No one was talking, they were all still digesting what they had learned about their blonde teammate friend. Everyone was trapped in a world of their own thoughts, ranging from person to person. Sasuke was in deep thought. He had just the night before learned that the only person he would even think about calling a friend had had it worse than him, much worse. He lived through all that and is still the way he is. He truly is stronger than me. I had one bad thing happen to me and I spiraled. He had it much worse than me and still maintained himself. Maybe he really could become Hokage. But one thing's for sure, I want to get closer to Naruto, for both of us. Sasuke got up and headed to the door, intent on finding the person he now considered a friend. You won't find him unless he wants you to. Stated Kakashi, reading a book, though not his usual smut, it was a green-covered novel that the name was worn off of. Not even I can find him when he calls a code 48, and I basically raised him since he was 6. Both Sakura and Sasuke were drawn back by this, they knew from the memories that Kakashi had saved Naruto a couple of times, but that he had actually raised him. Though that would explain some things. What is a code 48? Asked Sasuke. If he knew what Naruto was doing, maybe he could help find him. It means that Naruto is on a self-appointed mission, probably training, stated Kakashi, while turning the page of the old green book. Then it shouldn't be that hard to find him. Questioned Sasuke. Normally no, but I and several others have trained him to be undetectable. Add that to the natural talent for stealth that everyone on both sides of Naruto's family has, you cannot find him. Not even a Hyuga can find him, stated Kakashi as he continued to read his book. I thought Naruto was an orphan. He doesn't have a family. Stated Sakura like it was the most obvious thing in the world. His parents died the day he was born, his mother in childbirth, his father against the Kyuubi. A lot of people that knew his parents tried to adopt him and help him out, but it was immediately stopped by those idiots on the civilian council and a certain clan. They even went so far as to have a man assassinated for filling out the paperwork to adopt him. Stated Kakashi, much to the shock of everyone in the room. Why did everyone in Konoha hate Naruto? It was only after me and several other very important people threatened to leave and sell secrets that they let me take over raising Naruto. But even then Naruto had to live on his own and was refused entry to the academy. That's why he was assigned to Anbu. It was the only thing that Lord Hokage had enough control over to keep the civilians and that clan out of. Since the day he was born he was technically a ninja of the village. Stated Kakashi with an eye smile, remembering how he had hip-thrusted at the civilian council when Sarutobi had finally outwitted them. Why would the civilians do that? Why was he considered a ninja at birth? What clan was against him? Rattled off Sakura, not understanding why something her mother was a part of would basically damn an infant to such a life. Sure, her mom didn't like Naruto, but that was just because of some stupid prank, right? Only Naruto and the Hokage can explain the first two, but the clan against him was the Uchiha, and it's for the same reason the civilians are against him to this very day. Stated Kakashi, waiting the response from Sasuke, though the response came from Sakura. You lie. The Uchiha are great people. They would never do that. She yelled, not believing for a second that the great Uchiha would do such a thing. He's telling the truth, stated Sasuke somberly. When I was young, I always heard my clan speaking of ways they could harm that boy. It must have been Naruto they were after. I remember there was a group of ninja that said they should put him in his place, and afterwards they went missing. Come to think of it, that was almost 8 years ago, and it was right around the time of the Kyuubi festival. Sasuke's eyes went wide and he sprinted out the door. All that was heard was the sound of vomiting and sobbing. Sakura sprung up to go help him, but Kakashi blocked her and told her that he needed this. 5 minutes later Sasuke emerged into the house, tears streaking his face. What happened? What's wrong? Questioned Sakura. I know the clan that was responsible for Naruto's rape. Forest clearing. Naruto had 500 clone all working on separate things. Some his ridiculous chakra control exercise which was water walking while holding rocks and branches to himself with chakra. Some working on jutsu, including his newest idea for his own jutsu. Most of his ideas he needed to train his body more, others were just too ridiculous to ever work without major drawbacks. The next group of clones were making an anti-Sharingan seal. Not that he didn't trust Kakashi, but he knew Sasuke would unlock his soon, and he would be damned if someone would just steal his hard work. The rest of his clones were split between working on his wind element and training his Taijutsu. He had 10 shadow clones fighting, each one-on-one. Naruto had the idea a while back to make his own Taijutsu style. He knew 5 of them rather well, but just never hit full stride with any of them. He knew the strong fist from Guy, the interceptor from Itachi and Shisui Uchiha, 2 men that helped him train when he was in Anbu, his father's style, which relied on outrageous speed. He learned this from a scroll that was left to him, the Haddock style, which mostly involved great reflexes with speed, and a good chunk of the Uzumaki style, which was built around unpredictability. He liked certain aspects of every style, but wanted to combine them into an amazing style that couldn't be truly countered. The power of the strong fist, the read and react of the interceptor, along with his Taijutsu when he needed it, the pure speed of his father's style, the reflexes of the Haddock style, and the unpredictability of the Uzumaki style. If he could successfully combine all 5, then he could become almost unbeatable in a Taijutsu fight. But creating your own style is difficult as it is, add combining 5 vastly different styles to the mix, and it would take years. But then again, Naruto could get a year's worth of work done in a 6-hour workout. With his godly chakra reserves, good chakra control and the shadow clone jutsu, he could make almost 1500 clones and have them all last almost 6 hours. There was a huge downside though, when he dispelled that many clones after more than 4 hours of training, no matter how spaced out, he would pass out for at least an hour from information overload. Right now he was dispelling groups of 50 from his group of 500. First the chakra control group, then the elemental groups, then the jutsu groups and finally the group working on the Sharingan seal. He had the basics of sealing from Kakashi and a lot of different scrolls from what his father left him, along with the 1 to 2 times he would see Jiraiya a year. He still had to make chunin to be able to move into the house his parents had left him, but that didn't bother him, he still had a lot of work to do before he felt worthy to live there anyways. The clone group had assembled the seal, but there were still kinks to be worked out, so he would finish and apply the seal tomorrow. The last group left to be dispelled was the Taijutsu group. He had them fighting each other, switching up styles and finding the strongest pieces of each style. So far he felt he had a great base to start from, he had picked the pieces to use, and enough to fill the gaps in between the opposing styles. I'll start it at about 4 o'clock, that way when I pass out, it will be night time anyways, Naruto mused out loud. As he reviewed his plan on building the style he was imagining. That afternoon, 4 o'clock, Naruto had just made a little more than 1500 shadow clones, the most he had made up to this point in his life, but from the calculations he had done, he would need as many as possible to get the base of the style down tonight and was now giving them instructions. Okay, split into groups of 60. Each group take 2 styles and start to combine the predetermined moves, stances, and katas. Anyone left over, work on mastering the stages of our Taijutsu we have unlocked. We most likely are going to need it and I don't want it to drain as much chakra as it did last time. After 2 hours, you will dispel in groups of 60 every minute. Begin. He commanded. Naruto knew he was going to be vulnerable when he passed out, so while his clones worked to combine the styles, he was searching for a tree to sleep in. He found a branch that would be able to support him and started watching the clones work. He was surprised to see at the half-hour mark that a couple of the combined styles were working together extremely well, though others were failing to fully work together. This was to be expected and he had already planned for it. He took clones from the groups that were making great progress and sent them to groups having trouble. At the 2-hour mark he got an idea. Everyone listen up. Battle Royal. Everyone versus everyone. Use only the combination you've been working on. Begin. The clones all started to fight each other, though it seemed odd to him that the clones being dispelled were taking longer and longer between kills. He mulled it over in his head as the clones continued to kill each other. After about half the group had been dispelled he saw why they were taking longer and longer still. The clones were actually adapting the combined styles they were using for their opponent. The longer a clone survived the better and better the clone got at making adjustments. That meant that his finished product could do this too, he could literally tweak his new style to a new opponent and make it the best possible combination. In short, if he lasted long enough, he almost couldn't be beaten. His head was starting to throb, he knew that if he didn't start to try to sort out the mass influx of information that he would most likely pass out and have to stop his training, and he wouldn't have that, not yet. He started to meditate and work through the information. He found it rather easy, as he had done this before, but not to this scale. After about 10 minutes, the throbbing stopped and he had finished sorting the feedback and he had to say, he was extremely happy. The work his clones put in was ridiculous, they had almost perfectly worked out all the major kinks between the styles. Sure there was some slips every here or there, but every style had those. He took an hour break from his training and started the mental preparation for the next stage of the combination. After he had prepared, he created another batch of shadow clones. He was surprised that he actually matched the original number. He had figured there would be a rather large drop-off. Alright. Get in groups of 25. Start to combine the styles. Hopefully when you're done we have a decent base to build the new style off of. Get cracking. After 3 hours, another battle royal. Begin. The real Naruto commanded and watched as he saw all the clones form groups of 25 and get to work combining all the styles. About an hour after he started to work on the combination of styles he decided to check up on his team. He really didn't need to show them all the memories he had, but he did have a reason for it. Inari had to learn what the world could be like, the kid had a rough life, but there is always someone with a worse life than you. Sakura needed to see that as well, she was too much of a fangirl to realize what was going on around her, and he needed to explain that to her in a way she couldn't just look away from. Sasuke needed a reality check, plus if it turned out that he and the last Uchiha could become closer, that would help team dynamics, and he might even make a friend out of it, but that was pushing it. Naruto made a clone to watch over his training and went off to meet up with his team and get some food. Azuna's house, 15 minutes later, the team was starting to get worried. Well Sasuke and Sakura were, Kakashi seemed to relax more and more as time passed. We need to go find him. What if he's hurt? He's not that bright and he could have hurt himself training, stated Sakura. Kakashi just glared at her, not only had he already told her that he was fine 13 times. She was refusing an order to stop asking about what he was doing, and with her continuously berating his intelligence, it was a wonder how she couldn't see that the Naruto they knew in the academy and the Naruto they know now are two completely different people. Naruto has been trained by myself, Asuma Sarutobi, Mido Guy, and most of Anbu. He has had one-on-one time with the Hokage himself. He can handle training. Trust me. Maybe instead of sitting here all day you could have trained and made yourself stronger for our next fight with Zabuza. At least Sasuke is meditating. Stated Kakashi coldly. If he could he would drop them both and just train Naruto, he would in a heartbeat, but the council would make his life a living hell, and he was already on their shit list for having Naruto on his team. They wanted him to apprentice Sasuke and give up all ties to Naruto. He told them to go fuck themselves and ended up with the Banshee as well. It was true that Sasuke was meditating, Kakashi had suggested it to calm his nerves, but all it did was make him think. That in itself had both helped and hurt the young Uchiha's mental state. He had dredged up old memories that had been forgotten long ago. Some happy, some sad, but there was two memories that kept replaying in his mind over and over. The first was rather simple. It was the night of the massacre, just before Itachi put him in the Genjutsu that made him relive the events. Itachi was crying. He had so much pain and anguish in his eyes that you could see it, even through the Sharingan. Had Itachi regret what he did? Was he forced to? These thoughts triggered another memory. Actually, two memories. Flashback, night of the massacre. Sasuke had just finished his first round of the mental torture of watching his clan slaughtered. He couldn't move and was about to pass out from the emotional pain he was feeling. But just before his world went black, a golden-haired Anbu appeared in his line of vision and picked him up off the ground. The last thing he remembered before everything went black was what the Anbu said: "I won't let you down, Itachi, I'll make sure I save your brother, just like you helped save me." Flashback end. Sasuke now knew who that Anbu was. It was his blonde teammate, but what he said that night didn't make sense to him. What did it mean? Flashback, Sasuke's 10th birthday. Sasuke had just made it home from the academy. It was another boring day, but then again, when you're better than everyone, that seems to happen quite a bit. He was about to enter his home when spotted a present sitting in the doorstep. He was surprised to see it there. Only people with authorization are even allowed to walk in the compound, let alone bring anything in. He picked up the box and took it inside. When he opened it, he found a pair of white and blue arm warmers and a new blue shirt with the Uchiha fan on the back. In the box was a note that read, "Dear Sasuke, I know how hard it is to be alone. Just remember that if you're ever in trouble, I'll be there as soon as I can. Best of luck in the future, and you." Flashback end. Naruto was there for him all along. And all he ever did was insult the blonde. He needed to change that. He wasn't about to let his ego get in the way this time. He would find a friend in Naruto, and he would do whatever Naruto needed to be happy, just like Naruto had tried to do for him. Suddenly the door opened and in walked the blonde. "What's for dinner?" "I'm starved." End of chapter. "What's for dinner?" "I'm starved," stated Naruto as he walked in like he had just took on God himself. "How was training?" "With the way you're moving I would say you were doing some sort of shadow training," asked Kakashi with a wink, or does that count as a blink? Naruto knew what his brother figure was doing. He was giving Naruto a way out of his teammate finding out about his training methods because they would demand to use it and die in the process. "Yep, but I was working on my other skills as well, mostly my taijutsu," he stated. Kakashi's eye widened. If Naruto was already working on that, it might be ready in time for the chunin exams. Oh, the money he was going to rake in at the chunin exams. "You need any help?" "I'm no guy, but I think I can help," Kakashi asked. He truly would like to see this style. If it's anything like he had drawn up when he was still in Anbu, he could probably even beat Guy in a one-on-one. "That would be great, but I'm nowhere near done with it. Only got the basics done, but that should be enough for now," stated Naruto as he started to dig into the pasta that was made for dinner. "Understood. You know tomorrow is when Zabuza is supposed to be back to full. And with the bridge being almost finished. It will most likely be tomorrow. We should think of a plan," stated Kakashi, sounding every bit the Anbu commander he was just a few months ago. In your honest opinions, how strong are Sasuke and Sakura?" asked Naruto. He needed their real level to formulate a plan. He knew that Kakashi could at the very least hold Zabuza off, but the Hunter Nin was a mystery, most likely Chunin to Jonin. So Naruto would most likely have to take on the Hunter Nin. I'd say that Sakura is low to mid-genin," stated Kakashi. Naruto just nodded, but thought the scarecrow overestimated her. "And Sasuke? High genin to low chunin, maybe even mid-chunin. It's hard to tell really," said the Jonin, still flipping through his book. It was at this time that Sasuke decided to make his presence known. "Hey, Naruto. Can we talk?" Naruto was drawn back by the radical shift in Sasuke's attitude. He stopped himself from calling him dope and asked for him something instead of demanding it. Sure, what you want to talk about? Not here, I'd like to be alone. His tone was a mystery, even to Sasuke. It was a mixture pain, regret and happiness. Yeah, I got a spot. Naruto walked over to the door and motioned Sasuke to follow. Sasuke just nodded and followed him out the door. Sakura was torn up inside. She knew that if anyone could help Sasuke it was Naruto. After all, Naruto was the only one they knew of that had it worse than Sasuke. But this also meant that Sasuke and Naruto would grow closer. Which meant that he would pay even less attention to her. Roof of the house. Naruto and Sasuke had jumped up to the roof and sat with their backs on the chimney. Naruto flashed through hand signs at a rate that would make Zabuza blush. Then the whole roof and a dome of blue light flashed around them. It's a silent seal, no one can hear us up here. I can guess what you want to talk about. Asked Naruto with a very serious face and tone. I don't really. He didn't know what was going on. He knew all the questions, but didn't know how to ask them. Let me guess, you want me to tell you about Itachi, clear up my past and tell you how I survived and thrived. Sasuke nodded and Naruto just sighed. Tell me everything you know about me and your brother Itachi. And not that we were both anbu captains. Or that he slaughtered your clan. Sasuke looked at the blonde that was next to him, a confused look on his face, but he did as instructed. Itachi was a genius, he unlocked the Sharingan at the age of 8. He was a genin at the end of the Third Great War. His best friend was Shushi Uchiha. And that's all I really got. He was always so distant and whenever I would ask for help he would poke me in the forehead. And what do you know of me? Other than we've been teammates for the last few months. Asked Naruto. You were raised from the age of 6 by Kakashi-sensei. The council hates you. Everyone but a select few hate you. You're ridiculously strong for your age. You've suffered almost your whole life. You hid your skills during the academy and I think you still are. That's about all I got, he said, an amount of sadness in his voice. Good. But tell me, why was I treated like that? If Itachi really wanted to test himself, why didn't he kill Anbu? Who was Itachi? Who am I? Asked Naruto. You were an Anbu with Itachi. Did you ever work together? Asked Sasuke. Yes. We both on Kakashi's squad. After a couple of years Itachi was put in charge of his own team. After he killed your clan, I took over his team. But there's more. He didn't take life unnecessarily. The Third Great War was traumatic on Itachi in that way. Itachi liked peace, that's why he joined Anbu, to protect from within. That's really all I know. But there is one more thing. The last thing he asked of me, stated Naruto. He smiled remembering back to that night, the night of the massacre. Flashback, 1 minute after the massacre, Naruto's apartment. Naruto woke out of a sound sleep. There was a silhouette man standing in the doorway to his room, the smell of blood entered his nostrils. Instinct took over and Naruto lunged at the man in his doorway, plunging a kunai into the man's chest. There was a loud exhale. Then, the man burst into crows. Come on out Itachi, what do you need at this time at night? Asked Naruto in a half-bored half-pissed voice. It was Naruto's promotion test the next day. He would finally become an Anbu trainee, instead of just training with Kakashi, Guy, Shisui and Itachi. Naruto, I have just massacred my whole clan minus Sasuke and Shisui. I beg you to keep Sasuke safe and sane. He only has you now and he will need you to help him through his hard times. I left him because I know he can be pure, unlike the rest of my pitiful clan. Stated Itachi with no tone in his voice, though it was clear he was crying. Why would you do that? Where is Shisui? What do you mean that Sasuke was the only pure one? Rattled off Naruto, truly confused of this whole situation. My clan was weak, they had to be purged. Shisui is dead, I drowned him 3 days ago. Sasuke is too innocent to take that path unless he is pushed to it. I need you to show him the right path and keep him from what he was born into. Stated the stoic Uchiha. Stop speaking in riddles. Look, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. You've saved my life more than once, it's the least I can do, claimed Naruto. Well, for starters, he's in a very powerful genjutsu right now, he could use some help. Until next time. Then, he was gone. He left in his usual flock of crows. Flashback end. Sasuke was shocked, Itachi had looked after him. He had gone out of his way to make sure he basically had a guardian angel. Why? Why would he do that? Sasuke, if I know anything about Itachi, it was that he hated pointless bloodshed. I know for a fact he didn't snap and go crazy, and he loved Konoha. The only thing we talked about more than his love of the village was how much he loved you. I don't know what truly happened that night, but he looked out for you. Your life should not revolve around killing him, he wanted you safe. If anything, he wanted you to rebuild the clan as a strong and morally strong family. Not a group of jutsu thieves that rely on their Kekkei Jinkei. Maybe you're right. But Itachi told me to gain eyes like his. But you said that he hated violence. I don't know anymore. Shouted Sasuke once again, his life was being torn apart but this time he was older. And this time, he would come out on top. Take your time, I felt the same way when I found out about my family too. But the clones, are you shitting me? You call that a kick? Taunted one of the clones, a clone near the top of a tall tree that had all its leaves cut in half in a pile near the trunk. Screw you. Boss gave you the easy job. You just sit there and watch over us. Yelled another clone, right before he was dispelled with a kick to the throat. Alright guys, 15 more minutes until the battle royal. I'll inform boss and when he gets here it's time to start. Yelled the clone on the branch. It had been almost 4 hours and they were only supposed to go for 3. The clone jumped of the branch and swan dived into a group of clones, dispelling them all. But Naruto and Sasuke, the duo was just about to jump down from the roof when the memories of Naruto's dispelled clones came to his mind. Which surprised him as they were quite a distance away. Nonetheless, Naruto had to go watch the training. I'd love to stay and chat some more team, but I have to go take care of something. Tell Kakashi I'll be back for tomorrow morning and if one late to wait up for me, you guys can't fight Zabuza and his cronies by yourselves. And with that, Naruto disappeared in a swirl of intense wind. Naruto is my best friend, my only friend, maybe I should do what he suggested. Stop going after Itachi. Would I be happier? Or would it cause me more pain? What would I do if he comes back? Ah. Why does this have to be so complicated? Mentally shouted Sasuke. The blonde had changed his view on Itachi, flipped everything he knew upside down, and now he was his best friend. For the first time in almost 4 years, Sasuke smiled. Not a smirk or a grin, a true smile. At least he's here to help me through this. But Naruto and clones, begin. All the clones shot at each other with intent to kill. And that they did. Every blow that connected could end a fight, and with a quarter of the clones using his Dojutsu, Naruto was seeing almost every second of it, or at least he would when one of the clones was dusted. Naruto's head began to pound with a sudden influx of information, and about 45 seconds after he started the clone battle royal, he passed out. Mindscape, sup fox? Anything new? Asked Naruto as he took a seat and looked into the cage. Sup flesh bag? No, nothing new, just stuck in an idiot. Stated the fox. And just what makes me an idiot this time? I'm creating my own Taijutsu style. Questioned Naruto. What are you going to do if you're forced to hand and have to use ninjutsu? You forget about that. Or what if you're facing someone in Kenjutsu? Like that Mamachi? Asked the fox. Duh, I adapt. The style is made to adapt to your opponent, so I just need to adapt. Plus, I want to learn Kenjutsu. To be a great shinobi you need to be well-rounded and I'm still only intermediate at sealing. I want to be able to use my father's jutsu, but I need to redesign the seal to work with me. On top of that, I still want to go to the Uzushiogakure and see if I can find anything. Maybe there's some sweet jutsu there that's lost to the world. Or maybe there's something that can help with my eyes. Naruto was just rambling on at this point, but the fox knew the kid had a point, who cares if he was a little bit slow sometimes. When it came to anything ninja, he was a greater genius than his old man. Shit. Someone is coming. You need to head back to the real world. Warned the fox. I can't until I process all the information the clones are sending me, I can't wake up. Stated Naruto a little panicked. Let's just hope they're friendly, cause you're a sitting duck right now. Real world. The masked man had just entered the clearing, only to see about 750 blondes killing each other, though they were only clones. The masked man made his way to the Naruto on the branch overlooking the whole fight, figuring that was the real one. It's time to end this miserable life as the man reached for his sword. Next day, early morning, the group of Konohanins were on edge. This was the day that Zabuza would be back, along with whoever he had with him, and Naruto, the ace in the hole, was nowhere to be found. While Kakashi knew that Naruto was dependable, he couldn't help but wonder what his idiot son brother best friend student was up to. Sasuke was worried that the only person in this world he truly could care for still wasn't there. He knew that he would be back until later, but it was getting ridiculous. They were supposed to be heading to the bridge a half hour ago. Sakura was wondering what color underwear her Sasuke was wearing today. Izuna was a little tipsy and started to drum on the table with 2 spoons he had snuck from the kitchen. He was surprisingly good. All was quiet until the door flung open and Kakashi was hit in the back of the head with a head. It was a freaking decapitated head. Hey Kakashi. You're it. Came the cheerful voice of Naruto who was leaning against a post that held up the overhanging roof. Everyone was shocked. Who just throws a head at someone? Wait, where did he even get the head? The 3 shinobi walked out to the yard only to see 15 dead bodies. All with their throat cut or a hole in the base of their skull where a kunai had been placed. Now Kakashi, I believe you owe me 50 ryo. Stated Naruto with a smug smile on his face, much to the added confusion of the other 5 people there. Nope, the bet was 15 and bare hands, you used a kunai, stated Kakashi smugly, adding even more confusion to the group. What's going on here? Asked Izuna, a little worried that there was now 15 dead bodies in his front yard. They were sent by Gato to kidnap Inari and do something to Tsunami, stated Naruto with a shiver. I killed them before they knew it was coming. A rapist life hold no value in this world. It wasn't known to many, but the only thing Naruto hated more than the people that denied him his childhood was rapists. Naruto, Kakashi and Jiraiya, even though they were huge supporters of the fairer sex, would kill anyone that had ever committed the horrible act. The only thing a rapist could hope for when facing one of the three was a painless death, which it never was. Naruto washed the thoughts from his head and spoke, before we head to the bridge, there's something I need to tell you all. Flashback. Naruto had just woken up from his shadow clone-induced sleep, only to find a rather tall man with no shirt on and a huge sword on his back. Oh, hey Zabuza, need something? Asked Naruto in a calm tone. If Zabuza was here to kill him, he would have done it already. Just a couple of questions, Gaki, stated the former Mist Nin. There was none of his usual harshness in his voice. And what would they be? Asked Naruto, now sitting next to Zabuza on the tree branch. How the fuck are you so good? You're in a genin team, so I know you're not a jonin like you should be. You're like 12 years old, and you act like a full-blown retard when you're not fighting, and you killed my apprentice as an anbu. What gives? Asked the swordsman. Well, I'm not exactly liked in my village. I was beaten and abused from the day I was born. After about 6 years the old man was finally able to outwit the council and get me placed in anbu. I had several teachers including Might Guy, Kakashi, Itachi Uchiha, Shisui Uchiha, Jiraiya the Sannin and even Old Man Hokage for a while. At the age of 8 I was strong enough to become an anbu recruit under Kakashi, and at age 9 I was a full-fledged member. But I lead a double life. I was also acting as an academy student, the worst academy student. Since the council didn't know I was an anbu, I was forced to take the rank genin, stated Naruto with an odd smile on his face, one of happiness. That explains a lot, councils are a bunch of fuck-offs anyway. But that doesn't explain the acting like a retard part, stated an understanding Zabuza. He hated councils almost as much as he hated Yagura. It's in my blood, laughed Naruto, though I can't tell you who my father is. I can tell you my mother was Kushina Uzumaki. Hey Kushina Uzumaki. The bloody habanero. Good god, no wonder you act so fucked up. She was insane on the battlefield. The only person I feared more than her was your yondaime. That blonde-haired madman killed most of Iwa's army in one battle. And those eyes of his, I only met him once, but I'll remember the look in his eyes forever. It was the look of a man who knew he had done horrible things, but did them for the right reasons. Kindle-cares. Zabuza yelled and jumped back. You're his son. And Uzumaki's. Oh fuck, I am not going to fight you. The almighty demon of the mist doesn't want to fight a 12-year-old. That's funny, I wonder what people would say if they heard that. Asked Naruto while laughing. Fuck my reputation. You're the son of the 2 most dangerous shinobi ever produced in the leaf. Stated Zabuza, his mind was running a mile a minute before he thought about something. What would happen to me if I tried to join your village? You said you were trained by the Sandaime, right? Could you get me and Haku into your village? Asked Zabuza. If he played his cards right he could end this life of constant running and provided a better life for Haku at the same time. I guess. Konoha loves powerful ninja and Kekkei Genkai, so I don't see why not. Stated Naruto after about a minute of thinking. Hey kid, if Kushina was your mother, how come you're not a swordsman? She was on par with me and the other 6 swordsmen, asked Zabuza, curious as to why the kid wasn't following in his parents' footsteps. I would, but I don't get my parents' will until I'm a chunin. The council doesn't want me to be strong, so they're putting up every roadblock possible to make sure I stay weak, stated Naruto with disdain in his voice. Then it's your lucky day, Gaki. You're now my apprentice in the way of the blade and in water jutsu. Stated Zabuza with some pride. He never would have thought he would find anybody to teach the way of the blade to. Haku wasn't right for a sword, and well, Naruto killed the last one. Really? You do that? Why? Asked Naruto, wary of the situation he was in. A couple reasons. I hate councils, so it will be fun to fuck with them. I need an apprentice to pass my swordsmanship to, and it would be a total injustice if the son of the great Kushina didn't at least match her in swordsmanship. Listed of Zabuza. Awesome. But what about Gato? I can just let him keep his hold on this village, asked Naruto, pondering the question. Zabuza got a sinister smile of his face, visible even through the bandages. You leave the midget to me, just meet me at the bridge tomorrow, then we can get me and Haku and stated to Konoha, and she can have the life she truly deserves. Zabuza trailed off. Haku's a girl? Asked an astonished Naruto, though when he thought about it, it made sense. She had a rather lean build and effeminate voice. Yep, oh and one more thing, stated Zabuza as he pulled out his sword. You touch her, you die. End of flashback. Everyone was quiet. No, not quite. Silent. Well, they were until a certain banshee decided to speak up. So that means we don't have to fight him, right? She asked. Everyone else, including Inari, face palmed. Let's just get going. He told me for us to meet him at the bridge. Just to be safe, it will be me in front, Kakashi in back, Tazuna in the middle and Sasuke and Sakura on either side. Kakashi nodded, not knowing the full situation as Naruto didn't say what got Zabuza to join them. Why can't Sasuke be in front? He's a better ninja than you? Yelled the Banshee. Everyone looked at her with a "you're a fucking retard" face. Let's just go. Minus 15 minutes later, at the bridge, there was a dense mist hanging in the air as Team 7 walked onto the bridge. All was quiet until Kakashi was hit in the head by a head. "Hag, you're it," laughed Zabuza. It wasn't a demonic laugh, just a normal laugh, well, as normal as Zabuza will ever get. "Oh come on." Twice. "What bullshit is this?" yelled Kakashi, much to the amusement of Naruto, who was rolling around on the bridge laughing his ass off. "So does that make us even, may we go with you?" asked the demon of the mist, well not really ask, more of a demand. "You kill Gato?" asked Naruto as he struggled himself back up. "Whose head do you think that was?" laughed the soon-to-be demon of Leaf. "Cool, what about his bandits?" asked Naruto. "Ah shit, I knew I forgot something. We're right here kid," shouted a voice from behind them. "You killed our meal ticket. Now we're going to kill you and get everything we can out of this town, including all the women." "Oh, that was the wrong thing to say," stated Kakashi. "What do you mean Kakashi-sensei?" asked Sakura. "Just watch the bandits and don't blink," stated Kakashi. "You who defile this earth with your disgusting souls, you will all die by my hand. Those as lowly as you don't deserve to live," shouted Naruto before he disappeared from sight. No jutsu, just pure speed. The bandits started laughing until there was only silence. Then, almost all at once, their throats slit open and blood sprayed everywhere. In an instant they were all dead. "What the hell just happened?" yelled Sasuke, Tazuna and Sakura at the same time. None knowing what just happened. Naruto vanished and not even a second later every one of the 45 or so bandits were dead. "Naruto was merciful," stated Kakashi nonchalantly, like this was a daily occurrence, which about 2 months ago, it was. After he said that, the 5 people remaining on the bridge heard a loud cheering and a chant repeating louder and louder. "Hero, hero, hero," chanted the crowd that had gathered just before Naruto killed all the bandits single-handedly. "Well at least the bodies are still intact." "Well, not that one," stated Kakashi as he looked at the body of the man that had been talking. His head was literally torn from his shoulders. "At night, bridge, goodbye. Visit us sometime," yelled a random villager. "You're our hero," shouted multiple girls as they all rushed the group. Sakura stepped in front of Sasuke to intercept the wave of girls, but was shocked when they all latched on to Naruto. "Help please," yelled Naruto as he was engulfed in a sea of women from wave, ranging from age 10 to age 30. "Lucky Gaki," stated both Kakashi and Zabuza at the same time, much to everyone else's amusement. "You'd never catch me acting like that," stated Haku defiantly, though she did notice the glance that Sasuke sent her. She had taken off her chest binding and was wearing a little tighter battle kimono, showing off her rather well-endowed assets. "I don't get what the big deal is. It's just Naruto," stated Sakura. In her twisted mind it was Sasuke who did everything and he was the hero. She knew that wasn't true, but the mind of Sakura Haruno was a weird place to be. Naruto had finally gotten away from the crowd of women and was hiding behind Zabuza, who found it funny the effect women have on men. "Can we go now? It's about 4 hours back to the village if we run." Sounds like a plan. I need to get the newest release of My Precious," stated Kakashi as he held the book to his chest. There truly was no one normal in this group. "Goodbye everyone. I'll come back someday soon," yelled Naruto as he took off down the bridge, followed soon by the rest of the group. "He will be a legend one day," stated Tazuna. "We still need to name the bridge," yelled a random guy in the back. "I've got it. The almighty Tazuna Bridge," yelled the half-drunken bridge builder. "How about the Great Naruto Bridge?" asked Inari, with a great cheer in response. "Well this is different," stated Sarutobi as he watched one of his elite ninja, Kakashi Haddock, and a rather infamous rogue ninja, Zabuza Mamachi, both reading the newest copy of his student's newest book and giggling. Naruto and a girl he did not know, there his forehead in their hands, slowly shaking their head. Sasuke and Sakura both sweat dropped at the scene of their sensei and their prisoner. "Naruto, please explain why there's a Kakashi clone with no shirt and a giant sword on his back in my office," asked the aged Cage. "Well the one that's giggling with no shirt is the former mist-turned-rogue ninja Zabuza Mamachi. The girl next to me is Haku Mamachi, Zabuza's adoptive daughter. Though I don't know where Zabuza's shirt went, he had one when we got back to the village," stated Naruto, trying to remember where he had lost it. "Some crazy purple-headed chick took my shirt when me and Kakashi bought this beautiful piece of literature," stated Zabuza holding the smut book up like a gift from God, then she said something about snakes and dango, and took off. "Anko," stated Sarutobi, Kakashi and Naruto, getting a raised eyebrow from the rest of the room's occupants. "Well, what are we to do? Zabuza is a rogue, so you could always join the Leaf, but you'd have to spend about a week with Ibiki," stated Sarutobi, before turning to the young woman next to Naruto. "You have no history with any village, so we could just implement you into our ranks. Naruto says you have a Kekkei Genkai, so you might be forced into a marriage. I place Haku under the protection of the Uzumaki clan," That is unless team wants to protect her under the Uchiha clan. Asked Naruto as he turned to his friend rival and made a motion to accept. It was clear that Sasuke had an interest in the ice user, and Naruto thought that the Uchiha might even like her, which would be great if the Uchiha could get his mind off of his own problems once in a while. I accept, as heir to the Uchiha clan, I place Haku Mamachi under my clan's protection, stated Sasuke, with a light blush on his face and a blade at his throat. Wait, blade. You even think of touching her, I'll cut your balls off with this sword, and I'm very accurate. Threatened Zabuza as the room filled with killing intent. Well, with that settled, Sarutobi pulled 2 forms and handed them to the Mamachis. Fill those out, swear loyalty and you're all set. Haku, you will take a placement test in 2 days. Zabuza, as I said before, you will be questioned, stated Sarutobi. Zabuza nodded, fully understanding that was his second chance. Okay, Naruto, take Zabuza to Ibiki. Sasuke, set up Haku with a place to stay. Everyone meet at training ground 7 at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Haku, you may come as well, we're going to start some real training. Kakashi with a sadistic eye smile and storm clouds hovering in the air. If that is all, you are dismissed, said the Hokage as he glared at his paperwork. Everyone but Kakashi, Zabuza and Naruto left. How may I help you 3? Gigi, I would like to go search the ruins of Yuzushiogakure, stated Naruto in a somewhat pleasing voice. And why, may I ask? Asked Sarutobi, though he knew it wasn't for some pointless reason. I want to learn as much as possible about my clan. There might be something there, like an underground vault with tons of jutsu and other stuff, maybe something about my taijutsu. Stated Naruto, much to the surprise of Zabuza. All good theories. What if you don't find anything? It would be a waste of a lot of valuable time, after all your team is entered in the chunin exams. Stated the Hokage. Naruto thought for a minute, he did have a point, that's it. Why don't I have Zabuza accompany me? He has already promised to teach me Kenjutsu, and it will score him brownie points, with the other high-ranking jounin who know about my past. That works for me, the only problem I see is we still don't know what kind of sword for the Gaki to use. He doesn't have the grace for a katana, maybe a claymore. The kid is fast enough and I can make him strong enough, stated Zabuza. He had used a claymore before he was granted the head cleaver. Then it settled, after Zabuza gets away from Ibiki, Naruto and Zabuza will take a training trip to Yuzu. Anything else? Asked the aged Hokage. Next day. So what training do we have today? Asked Sakura. No clue, Kakashi wouldn't tell me, stated Naruto, with a yawn. But if I had to guess, water walking or elemental manipulation. Or both. Came the voice of Kakashi behind them. Okay, everyone take a piece of paper and channel chakra into it. I'll tell you your affinity or affinities if you have them, but you probably won't. Kakashi handed out the tabs of paper and motioned for Sakura to go first. The paper slowly crumbled and fell from her hand. Good, an earth user, I know a couple of earth jutsu you could use. But you need to get your reserves up. You're next, Sasuke. Sasuke sent his chakra into the piece of paper and had an interesting result, the paper crumpled and started on fire. Sasuke panicked and tossed the burning piece of paper away. Lightning and fire, interesting, I'll have to find you some lightning jutsu, the only 2 I know are for me only, and maybe if I have a kid someday. Naruto took this awkward moment to test his affinities, he had almost mastered wind and wanted to see what other affinities he might have a talent for. He held back his wind chakra and focused everything else into the card. The results shocked even Naruto. Lightning, water and fire. Along with your wind, that's different, the water is from your mom, and your dad's second element was lightning, but where does the fire come from? I can take a guess, said Naruto, hinting to Kakashi, who just nodded. The fox was known to use fire, it most likely gave this ability to Naruto. Naruto has parents? Asked Sakura stupidly. No, I was born from nothing, stated Naruto sarcastically. Well, I'll go get some jutsu scrolls. Naruto, teach them water walking till I get back, I'll be about 30 minutes, stated Kakashi as he made his exit. Okay then, on to water walking. Next day, Anbu training ground 2. Haku's test had just gotten over. She was given the rank of chunin and was going to be referred to the medical program due to her chakra control and knowledge of medicine. But that wasn't it. Also there was Guy, Kakashi, Sarutobi and Naruto. Today was the day Naruto was going to start the heavy work on his taijutsu style. As Haku's technical guardian, Sasuke was also there but was stuck on the sidelines for the whole test. Okay Naruto, how do you want to do this? Asked Kakashi, eager to test himself against what for Naruto could become an almost unstoppable taijutsu style. I was thinking of fighting you and Guy Sensei one-on-one and getting any pointers I could get. After all, your 2 styles make up a good portion of mine. Then maybe Gigi would want some action. Asked Naruto with a smirk. I agree to this challenge, someone has to put you young ones in your place, stated Sarutobi with pride in his voice. He really was proud of the man Naruto was becoming. Naruto versus Kakashi, I will proctor, begin. Yelled Guy as loud as humanly possible. Naruto and Kakashi shot off at mid to high jonin speeds, leaving the appearance that they disappeared. In the blink of an eye the two were locked in a heated taijutsu battle. Kakashi had experience, but Naruto had a far superior style and could match Kakashi in strength. The two broke apart after about 3 minutes when Kakashi finally landed a kick on Naruto's right shoulder. "I think it's time for the real spar to begin," stated Naruto as he channeled chakra into his eyes, revealing 2 diamonds in both pupils, showing that he had mastered the second level. Kakashi nodded and pulled up his headband to reveal his Sharingan. Then, they once again disappeared, well from Sasuke and Haku at least. If Guy had his way, he would be fighting right now. The skill his rival Kakashi had was on par with his own, though he was faster and stronger than Kakashi. But Naruto was keeping pace with Kakashi, even taking control at some points. Whether it was his own skill or that of his style, Guy was unsure. It was then that it happened. Naruto and Kakashi broke apart, both staining at each other, daring the other to move first. Naruto took off like a rocket, aiming a strike at Kakashi's right shoulder. Kakashi raised his right arm to block the hit, but Naruto quickly changed direction with a spin, launching his heel at the left side of Kakashi's face. Thanks to the Sharingan, he was narrowly able to block the surprise move. As Naruto's leg made contact with Kakashi's left arm, he used his momentum to continue his spin and brought his other heel down on the top of Kakashi's head, knocking him out cold. Sasuke couldn't believe it, his sensei was out like a light bulb. It was equally shocking for Guy, his rival was just knocked out cold by one well-placed kick. The force behind that kick must have been incredible. Sarutobi brought Kakashi over to Sasuke and motioned the medic they had on hand to look him over and give the report. "Both forearms are fractured and he has a very bad concussion, those kicks are brutal," said the medical Anbu while looking over to Naruto. "My youthfulness cannot wait any longer. We will fight now, my youthful opponent. Prepare yourself, for the youthful weights of youth are coming off." And just like he said, Guy took off both sets of leg and arm weights, he dropped them from about 3 feet and they left a crater where they landed. They both nodded and took off, Naruto at high Jonin speed, Guy at ludicrous speed. The only reason Naruto was able to keep up with him was because of his Jujutsu, which the first and second level both slowed time and greatly improved his reflexes. Even with these two advantages, Naruto was just barely able to keep up with the now unleashed Guy. Naruto was barely able to defend himself against the onslaught of green spandex. I was deeply impressed, the only other person that could keep up with him at this level was Itachi. But the combination of Naruto's Jujutsu and his new style resulted in one incredible fight. But something was wrong, it was getting harder and harder to land blows on Naruto, and it seemed Naruto was landing blows more and more consistently. Naruto was adapting his style. After about 10 minutes, the full-out fighting was finally getting to both Guy and Naruto, and with Naruto's lack of experience, he was the first to make a mistake. I landed a punch on Naruto's left cheek, dropping him like a log. Next day, Anbu hospital room. Naruto had just awoken from his Guy-induced slumber when he heard a moan coming from the bed next to him, only to see Kakashi laying flat on his back and a bottle of painkillers on the table next to him. "Hi Ubi. What happened?" asked Naruto. "You got knocked the fuck out." "Ha ha ha ha," laughed the great fox. "Good to see you're both awake." Naruto turned his head to see Sarutobi smiling in from the doorway. Just then Kakashi sat up and yelled, "Don't worry Mr. Peanut Butter King. I will stop the pudding bandits of Gumdrop Mountain." Before he laid back down and went back to sleep. "Wow, he hasn't fought the pudding bandits in 4 years, I must have hit him harder than I thought," stated Naruto with a surprised look on his face. This was actually the 3rd time Kakashi had fought the pudding bandits. "Yes, it was quite a kick. Though I believe Guy may have one-upped you in the department," laughed the old cage. "Yay, hey, where is Guy? I would like the feedback for my style," asked Naruto as he started to stretch out. "He took his team on a 2-week escort mission, you'll have left with Zabuza by the time he gets back, but if I must say, you are one hell of a fighter. You lasted 15 minutes with Guy on full blast, I can only think of a handful of people alive today that could do that," praised the old cage. "Thanks old man. Now, can I get out of here? I need to train my team and Kakashi is still battling the pudding bandits," stated Naruto as Kakashi shot up once again. "Damn you vanilla. You and Tapioca will die for killing the Jelly Prince. You should probably just knock him out," deadpan Naruto. "We've tried, he just keeps picking up where he left off." Noon, training field. "Hey Naruto, where's Kakashi-sensei?" asked Sakura while walking around on the surface of the water. She really was trying to get stronger. "He's on a self-appointed mission. Don't know when he'll be back," laughed Naruto as he pulled out 3 scrolls, tossing one to Sasuke and one to Sakura. "Those are some jutsu scrolls for your elements. Sakura, there were also a couple of low-grade medical jutsu on yours. Until Kakashi gets back we're going to work on these jutsu while tree climbing or water walking. Every time you get a jutsu down, run 5 laps around the training area, do 100 push-ups, sit-ups, squats and pull-ups. This training will help your taijutsu, ninjutsu, speed and endurance. They both nodded, Sakura because she really didn't want to be dead weight anymore, Sasuke because it seemed like a good workout. The rest of the week went like this. Sakura's chakra reserves were now that of a high genin, and she had learned 3 earth jutsu and 2 medical jutsu. Sasuke's reserves were up to mid chunin and had learned 4 fire jutsu and 2 lightning jutsu. Naruto hadn't gained much chakra as he already had cage level reserves, though he had learned 1 wind, 2 lightning, 2 fire and 2 water jutsu. His manipulation training had been prosperous as every night he would go to the Anbu training ground and have 250 clones each work on the first stage of manipulation. Along with the elemental manipulation, Naruto was also working building his body up and increasing his speed. He was now at about low jonin without the use of chakra, and with chakra he was topping out at high jonin. It was the day before he was set to leave with Zabuza, and he was resting in case Zabuza decided to start training early. He was in the Anbu library looking over anything he could find out about Uzushiogakure. One thing kept popping up in everything older than 50 years. A man that seemingly had no name. He was only referred to as the Great One, had some sort of great treasure with the village, but it could never be found. He searched for anything else about the man, but could only find he was born very long ago and died after he split one into 9. Next day, interrogation offices. Naruto had just arrived at the interrogation department of the Anbu complex, only to find Zabuza already waiting for him. But something was wrong in the force. He was covered at cuts, bruises and hickeys. Okay, I know for a fact that Ibiki didn't do that, stated Naruto. Ibiki used mental attacks, he broke the mind, but Anko on the other hand, you get stuck with Anko, didn't you? Oh, I stuck Anko alright, said Zabuza with a perverted giggle. Explains the cuts and bruises, stated Naruto with a smirk. Wah? Asked a confused Zabuza. She used to date Kakashi, but she broke up with him because he was too nice, laughed Naruto. Come on, we need to report to Jiji, stated Naruto as he grabbed Zabuza's arm and body flickered to the Hokage Tower. Hokage Tower. Hey Jiji, ready to go, stated Naruto with a smile on his face as he and Zabuza appeared in the middle of the office. Ah, Naruto, Zabuza, you look like you've been mauled by a rabbit, Anko, stated Sarutobi. Zabuza just chuckled nervously while Naruto busted out laughing. After a few minutes of Naruto laughing, the meeting got back on track. Okay, in order for this to be considered a mission, Naruto, you have to go as an Anbu. It will be labeled an A-rank information gathering mission, with Zabuza going as an Anbu trainee. I'm good with that, stated Zabuza. Naruto just nodded. Then you leave at dusk, you have 2 weeks to complete this mission, it will take about 2 days to get there, stated Sarutobi. Well, come on Gaki, we need to find a sword for you to use. Then they both left, Zabuza in a swirl of water, Naruto in a swirl of wind. Minato, your son will leave you in the dust one day, maybe one day soon. The store Tenten works at. Zabuza and Naruto had each stopped at the Anbu outfitters and had gotten new clothes. Naruto was wearing his old Anbu uniform and his fox mask. His whirlpool headband kept safe in a storage scroll. Zabuza was now wearing black Anbu pants, black sandals, a black muscle shirt and Anbu forearm guards, along with his sword on his back and a new white ninja mask. They had just walked into what one would call a shinobi paradise. Every wall and every rack was filled to the brim with high-quality weapons. Okay Gaki, let's find you a sword, remember, the sword for you will literally feel like it's a part of you, stated Zabuza with a gleam in his eye, something that slightly frightened Naruto and the girl working the register. -2 hours later. Are you kidding me? None of these swords feel right, asked Zabuza. They had been through every sword in the store and still came up with nothing. Well, why don't you let me try out your sword? Asked Naruto. Hell no. This sword will stay with me till I die. Find your own sword, yelled Zabuza, getting the attention of both the girl behind the counter and a man that walked out of the back with forging gloves and a heat shield. Need a sword. Come on back Fox, and said the older man, motioning the two to follow him. In the back of the shop was a storage forge area. They followed the man to the back right corner and saw an assortment of very high quality swords. So I'm guessing you didn't like anything on the main floor, eh? Well, that happens. We only keep katanas, wazakas, and ninjatos out there. And judging by your muscle tone, sir, I'd say you'd be better off with an adachi or a claymore. If your friend is any indication, maybe you need a custom sword. Is that the headhunter? Yelled the man, pointing at the sword on Zabuza's back. Yay, the one and only, but while the Gaki is my apprentice in the art of the sword, he is never going to use it. I worked way too hard to get this blade, stated Zabuza. I can imagine. To gain the sword of Zabuza Mamachi must have taken incredible skill, stated the older man in wonder. I am Zabuza. The old man went pale, but not from fear. He had only heard legends of this man, and here he was in his shop, looking for a blade suitable for the man's apprentice. If one of these blades does not fit you, I will make you a custom sword to fit you perfectly. Please try out these blades. I will make you your own blade off of one of these, said the man to Naruto, gesturing to the wall of amazing swords. Why couldn't I just buy one of these? asked Naruto. They all belong to other people, some dead, some retired, some just spares. I cannot sell these blades, but I can make one that will fit you perfectly, stated the man with pride. Naruto tried them all, but two stuck out. Out of the 25 or so swords on the wall, an adachi with a red leather grip and claymore with a golden grip. Naruto pointed to both swords. These both fell great, almost perfect as he lifted them both up at once. Zabuza couldn't help but think of how he found the blades familiar. Naruto inspected both swords and started slashing air. Both Zabuza and the older man looked on in wonder. The kid was one-handing swords that an average chunin could only hope to use with both hands. Those are Kushina's swords. And he moves just like her. And the blonde hair, just like Minato. It's Naruto. I have to give him the swords, thought the older man. Naruto, said the older man in a cheerful voice. Naruto froze. How did the old man know it was him? I am going to give those swords to you. They both are yours by way of your heritage. I'm afraid I can't say any more, but I can try to make it up to you. Give me 2 minutes. He then ran off into a small office. Zabuza took this time to get a closer look at the blades. The Nadachi was a masterpiece. The blade was made of chakra-conducting material, and the handle was of a deep red leather with white stitching. The hilt was made of the same material as the blade and had 2 swirling patterns on either side of the blade. The claymore, in his opinion, was even more beautiful. Made of the same chakra-conducting material as the Nadachi, its handle was of golden leather and blue stitching. The hilt was the same as the Nadachi, oval plates with swirl pattern on either side of the blade. Here, these go with the sword, said the older man holding 2 sheaths, both being a deep blue. Naruto took the sheaths and stowed the large blades before attaching them to his belt. And this is scroll containing a 2-sword kinjutsu style. With the way you were able to handle those blades, you should have no problem. Thank you. How much do I owe you? Asked the blonde. No charge, those blades belong in your hands, now get going and learn to use them, smiled the older man. Naruto bowed and he and Zabuza walked out the front door, both smiling from ear to ear. Well, Naruto was smiling, Zabuza was smirking, thinking about the training he was going to give the blonde. Tenten was shocked. Not only did she just see the coolest sword ever on the back of an extremely muscular guy, but an anbu the same height as her just walked out with the 2 swords that belonged to the Kushina Uzumaki. One of her idols. Who just took Lady Kushina's swords? Asked Tenten. The only person that held she knew Lady Kushina in higher regards was her father, and to him those blades were priceless. That man, my dear, is their rightful owner. 2 days later. Come the fuck on. Are you tired already? Yelled Zabuza as he took another swipe at Naruto as he blocked it with his claymore while swinging his Nadachi at Zabuza's head. Screw you. I'm carrying 2 swords and you've trained your whole life to fight with that thing. Protested Naruto as sidestepped a chop and swiveled on his feet. He used swivel to get into Zabuza's guard and perform a jumping full body spinning slash with the Nadachi while pinning the large cleaver down with his claymore. The result was Zabuza losing his head, literally. Zabuza's head and body then reverted back to water. Nice job, Gaki. You're a frighteningly fast learner. What the hell was spinning thing, thought. It was pretty cool, stated the real Zabuza as he got up from his spot against a tree. I don't know. I just went with the flow and that's what happened. Stated Naruto after a quick breather. He had just faced 10 of Zabuza's water clones rapid fire and was a little winded. You really are becoming a true swordsman, Gaki. But there's always more to learn. But for right now, let's get to the ruins. All we gotta do is cross the whirlpools and we'll be on the island, said Zabuza as he got up and walked over to the beach. Zabuza truly was proud to call Naruto his student, though he wouldn't say it out loud. Naruto had learned most of the 2-blade style that the weapons store owner had given him. Thanks to his unnatural strength and his surprising speed, he was quickly becoming a force to be reckoned with, and when he combined it with his shadow clones, he became an army of slaughter. Next day, sunrise. Naruto and Zabuza were looking over the ruins of Yuzashigakure from the once main gate. It was a beautiful and haunting sight. The sun was slowly bathing the ruins in glow of deep orange that made it look like the whole village was ablaze. They were staring over the village for what seemed like hours, though it had been only minutes. All was quiet, and that's when Naruto saw it. Next to a fountain near the middle of the village. A man with spiky hair and piercing eyes. The man nodded to Naruto and sunk into the water, never leaving a ripple. End of chapter. They were staring over the village for what seemed like hours, though it had been only minutes. All was quiet, and that's when Naruto saw it. Next to a fountain near the middle of the village. A man with spiky hair and piercing eyes. The man nodded to Naruto and sunk into the water, never leaving a ripple. Naruto took off towards the fountain. He didn't know who that was, but if he lived here, he probably knew his way around the ruins. Naruto jumped into the fountain, only to be shocked when he saw a giant bubble holding the water back over a cavern. Inside the bubble was the same man as before, standing just far enough into the cavern to show only his eyes and outline. He stared at Naruto with a tilted head and an appraising eye, seemingly judging the blonde-haired boy. After what felt like hours, the figure turned and walked down the cavern. The only thing lighting the tunnel was the eerie glow coming from the mystery man's eyes. Naruto followed the man through the tunnel, finding that even when he tried, he couldn't speak. He physically couldn't talk. Not even grunt. Zabuza was starting to get freaked out, and coming from the man that killed an entire graduating class when he wasn't even enrolled in the academy, that was saying something. The young blonde was just fine until they crossed the threshold of the ruins. Then he completely zoned out, sprinted into the center of the town, dove into a water fountain, swam to the bottom, started at the bottom for a couple minutes, swam through the bottom of the fountain basin, and now they were walking through a pitch-black tunnel. The only way Zabuza could track Naruto was to use his silent killing and go off of sound. After about 10 minutes of walking, the two-leaf nin came into what looked like an old, strangely lit tomb. There was no light source and no shadows, everything was bathed in the same amount of light. 4 graves sat in the middle of the room. Each had some sort of plaque-like tombstone. At the foot of every casket was some sort of scroll. On the back wall there was another plaque, though this one looked to be some odd forgotten language. Naruto felt drawn to the coffin on the far right. The name on the tombstone. Arashi Uzumaki, son of the Great One, father of Asanta, age of death, 107. Naruto moved to the next tombstone. Asanta Uzumaki, daughter of Arashi, mother of Tamaki Uzumaki, age of death, 92. The next seemed even more familiar than the last two. Tamaki Uzumaki, son of Asanta Uzumaki, father of Jin Uzumaki, age of death, 103. The next one shocked Naruto to his very core. Jin Uzumaki, son of Tamaki Uzumaki, father of Kushina Uzumaki, age of death, 47. Hey Kushina. Mom? Asked Naruto out loud. Is this the same Kushina as his mother? Was he related to the Great One? If so, why did his grandpa die so young compared to everyone else? Naruto knew that full-blooded Uzumakis could reach 100 and still be in fighting shape. Look at the dates. Naruto spun around only to see Zabuza standing there with eyes full of questions. The year Jin died was the year the village was destroyed. That would explain why he died so young, but it's kinda weird that my mom and even myself could have been next in line, stated Naruto with a visible shiver. Hey kid, what are these scrolls? I don't feel right touching these, essentially because you're most likely the direct descendant of these people. Stated Zabuza, pointing at the scroll at the base of Arashi's grave. Naruto walked over and examined the scroll. It seemed to be either a jutsu or storage scroll. Naruto made a clone and had it pick it up the scroll. Nothing happened. The clone opened the scroll, only to find the same language as on the tablet in the back of the room. Naruto looked over the scroll again and managed a couple of words, only the eyes can read. Naruto shrugged and activated his eyes. He found that the scroll became clear and easy to read. Only the leader of the village can handle this scroll. If there is no leader of the village, only my offspring can handle it. This scroll is to be passed down to the next of kin. And this scroll is my signature jutsu, the Uzumaki Blast Shield, a huge amount of chakra forced out of the palm in a single, well-timed burst that can deflect almost any attack or be used to throw smaller opponents away. You can read that? Asked Zabuza. This was getting too weird to him. He knew the Uzumaki could do some amazing things with seals, but to find out they had their own language. Yay, but I can only do it with my Dijutsu, stated Naruto as he pocketed the scroll and picked up the next one. Only the leader of the village can handle this scroll. If there is no leader of the village, only my offspring can handle it. This scroll is to be passed down to the next of kin. This jutsu is my prize technique, the Uzumaki Elemental Dragon, a dragon made out of any element. Much stronger than the normal elemental dragons, uses much more chakra, but much faster and more powerful, uses same principles as a clone technique to give the dragon a simple but effective mind. Hand signs are cross, boar, dog, dragon, and then the elemental hand signs. The next scroll was along the same lines, though was much more to Naruto's taste. Only the leader of the village can handle this scroll. If there is no leader of the village, only my offspring can handle it. This scroll is to be passed down to the next of kin. My signature technique, the Uzumaki Meteor Punch, uses normal or lightning chakra to trigger the muscles of the shoulder, upper arm, lower arm and wrist in perfect timing to multiply the power behind any punch. Used in conjunction with coating the fist in earth, wind, fire, lightning or water chakra for colossal damage and to protect the hand from injury. Once proficient enough, the user can blast chakra out of the fist to double or even triple the power behind the punch. Wow, right up your alley Gaki. Stated Zabuza while looking around. He didn't know why, but there was something familiar about this place, like someone familiar was there with him, or that they were in the presence of a very caring and kind person. Only the leader of the village can handle this scroll. If there is no leader of the village, only my offspring can handle it. This scroll is to be passed down to the next of kin. This is my signature Taijutsu move, the Uzumaki style, Power Bomb. Launches the opponent into the air with a kick or punch to the jaw. While in the air, grab hips of opponent and slam them into the ground on their upper back or head. If strong enough, pick opponent back up and slam repeatedly. Use in conjunction with the muscle enhancements of the meteor punch for an instant win. Naruto whistled. Grandpa Jin didn't mess around. I'd love to be able to talk to these people. Hey kid, can you read this one? Asked Zabuza while motioning to the plaque on the back wall. It's the same gibberish as that scroll. Huh, yeah I can, stated Naruto with a smile on his face. The Maelstrom Eye, is that what it's called? That's a badass name. Yelled Naruto in excitement. Each level unlocked is a curse, each level mastered is a blessing. The levels unlocked depend on the need of the wielder. There are 4 main abilities and one that is different for every wielder. The 4 abilities are slowed time, increased chakra reserves and control, increased reaction time, and an increase in strength and speed. When unlocked, the ability will drain the wielder's chakra regardless of chakra control. To master a level, one must train for 100 days. Only the chosen of the chosen can unlock to the final level. So does any of that make sense to you? Cause it sure as fuck didn't to me. Yelled Zabuza. Yay, it explains my eyes, and all of it made sense. I don't understand, why did he lead us here? How did he know I was looking for this? Naruto asked. What are you talking about, kid? There isn't anyone here. We've been alone this whole time. What I want to know is how you found this place. Asked Zabuza. What do you mean? You didn't see that tall guy with spiky hair and the glowing eyes? Asked Naruto. No, I just followed you. I figured you had researched this or something. Stated a confused Zabuza. Yeah, I did research, but I didn't know about this place. I just followed. Zabuza saw it now. The kid would freeze up and his pupils would dilate, he was being controlled. Naruto started moving on autopilot again, this time, toward out of the tomb. Naruto had already pocketed all the scrolls and was now at the strange bubble that held the water back from the cavern. Naruto looked at the bubble before nodding and leaving the cavern. Naruto then swam over and then got out of the fountain. Zabuza was just following the blonde at this point. He had tried multiple times to talk to him, but it was like he was in a trance, completely oblivious to the world around him. Naruto walked to the opposite end of the village from where they entered. There he walked into a large, nearly collapsed building. They walked up to the top floor of the building on surprisingly strong stairs and into a room that reminded Naruto of the Hokage's office. Okay, did you see him that time? Because he looked right at Naruto was looking at Zabuza until something behind the swordsman caught his attention. Behind Zabuza, there were 4 picture frames, each had a different spiky-haired man with eyes that seemed to glow. The names under the pictures also shocked him. Arashi Uzumaki, Asante Uzumaki, Tamaki Uzumaki, Jin Uzumaki. That's him. Yelled Naruto as he pointed at the picture of Jin. That's the guy I saw. It was my grandpa. This is so weird. You're telling me? I never saw anyone but you. The only thing I can think of is that he was somehow controlling you to lead you here and to the tomb. Stated Zabuza rubbing his chin. Naruto walked over to the pictures to get a closer look, but when he got there he realized something. They were all looking in the same direction, at the corner of the room, where a large scroll laid in a broken glass case. Naruto walked over and picked up the large scroll, brought it over to the desk and opened it. The scroll had several seals in it, along with a description of what each one did. There was a resistance seal, used for physical training. A counter seal, used to undo any and all seals. A bodily containment seal, which somehow allowed someone to use their own skin, basically as a storage scroll. A chakra storage seal, basically the same as a containment seal, only it would store any extra chakra produced by the body and was able to re-release it into the body if one's chakra level dipped below a certain point. There were several other seals on the large scroll, but Naruto decided to at least wait until he was back in Konoha to look at any more. He wanted to use some of these seals, but knew how bad he sucked at Fuinjutsu and didn't want to risk anything without Kakashi, Sarutobi or Jiraiya with him. Zabuza, I think it's time we leave. I got what I came for, and I even got to meet my grandpa. Kind of. I want to use the next 3 weeks to prepare for the chunin exams. Maybe if I do good enough I can get promoted to jonin. Stated a happy Naruto. Not going to argue with you there, kid. This place gives me the creeps. Let's get the fuck out of here and get back to your training. You may be able to beat my clone in a sword fight, but they are at max, a tenth of my total strength. We need to get you a lot better. Plus you still need to learn the 3 water jutsu I want to teach you. 1 week later, the two had made it back 3 days ago, and after meeting with the Hokage, it was non-stop training, to the point that even Naruto was running low on energy. Nice work today, Gaki. You learned the water encasement wall and you're getting better with your swords. Get some rest. Because tomorrow I want to see if my water dragon bullet can stand up to that dragon technique that you got from your ancestors, stated Zabuza with a yawn. I think I'm going to go talk with my team, even though we don't like each other, it would help to learn what they learned so far. Stated Naruto as both ninja went their own way. Dango stand. Naruto had found Sakura at one of her favorite spots, the Dango stand. Or as everyone he knew called it, the gossip stand. Sitting in the back of the stand was none other than Sakura and Ino. Even though they had a rivalry for Sasuke, they really were still friends. So how's Sasuke doing? I heard around town that he's the strongest genin in the village. Asked Ino after taking a small sip of tea. He's getting real strong. But he's not the strongest genin in the village. Stated Sakura. Hey Sakura, I see you're busy, so I'll talk to you another time. Do you know where Sasuke is? I need to ask him a couple of questions. Stated Naruto as he walked over to the girls' table. Oh hey, you're back. If I had to say, he's probably at the training grounds with Kakashi-sensei. They've been training almost non-stop since you left, stated Sakura with a thoughtful look on her face. Meanwhile, Ino was wondering who this super hunk was and how Sakura knew him. He was incredibly handsome, his blonde shoulder-length hair was to die for, he was carrying two very heavy-looking swords, he had the tattoo that her father had told her only anbu captains have, and his godlike body was almost ripping itself out of the muscle shirt he was wearing. Hey, can I get 2 large orders of dango over here please? Called Naruto over to the cook, who gave him a thumbs up. Naruto dropped the money on the table and turned to leave. Thanks Sakura. And eat up you too, you're both skin and bones. Not that you care, but I like women with a little muscle on them. Then he winked at Ino and left in a swirl of wind. Okay, spill it forehead, how do you know that hot-ass anbu captain? Demanded Ino, the blush on her face still there from the little flirt from the hot stranger. How did you know he was in anbu? And did you really not recognize him? Asked Sakura. My dad told me that there are 3 tattoos in anbu, the one everyone gets, the one that captains get, which he had. And the one commanders get. And no, I didn't recognize him, should I have? Is he a Yamanaka? Asked Ino, still blushing that there could possibly be someone that hot in her clan. Oh, this is priceless. You have a thing for Naruto. Oh, wait till I tell Sasuke about this. Laughed Sakura. What are you talking about? I don't like Naruto. I asked who that guy was. Demanded Ino. That was Naruto. 3 weeks later, one day to chunin exams. Naruto was finally having a day of rest. He had been working non-stop for the last 3 weeks, learning from the 4 scrolls left from his ancestors, which thanks to shadow clones, he had a working knowledge of all 4. He had been working on his water and lightning affinities with Zabuza and Kakashi, working on his sword style, and building up his strength and speed. He had decided that he wasn't going to worry about his Jujutsu for now, seeing as he was basically a Jonin in everything but rank, and the strongest opponent he would face would most likely be mid-Chunin. Right now he was walking to his favorite ramen stand, but something was wrong, he was being followed. Konohamaru. Rocks aren't rectangles. All of a sudden, there was a rather large explosion and a plume of smoke. So, you saw through my disguise huh, nothing I didn't expect from my rival. Yelled Konohamaru. Hey Naruto. Did you see what that explosion was? I saw it from 2 blocks away. Yelled Sakura as she walked up to the blonde. Yay, it was Konohamaru and his friend, said Naruto as he pointed at the children. Hey boss. Is she your girlfriend? Asked Konohamaru while holding up his pinky finger. Hell no. She's just my teammate, stated Naruto. That's good, she's ugly and flat-chested. Yelled the young Sarutobi. Run. Huh? Asked Konohamaru. Run. Yelled Naruto while pointing at his raging teammate. The 2 groups took off running, Sakura to pound the kid into the dirt, the kid to save his life. Naruto just followed at a leisurely pace, which to him was keeping up with the group. He was just about to catch up when Konohamaru rounded a corner and a loud thud was heard. You little brat. That hurt. I'm going to beat the shit out of you for that. Yelled a makeup-wearing kid with his version of the Catwoman suit. Pankuro. Put the kid down. We don't have time for this. Yelled an attractive blonde with the same village symbol as the Catman. Shut up Tamari. This kid insulted me and I won't lose my reputation, and just let him walk away. Yelled back the Catman, then his eyes widened, at his throat were 2 very large and sharp-looking swords. You lose your head before you can even think of harming him. Now put the boy down softly or I'll kill you where you stand, said the unimaginably cold voice holding the swords. Kankuro did the smart thing and let the boy down. Good, now while you're at it, hey kid. There's a Jinchuriki behind you. I can smell him, I think it's that idiotic one-tail. Stated Kyuubi. Bet your teammate over here, stated Naruto with authority. Tamari? Asked Kankuro, using every ounce of willpower he had not to piss himself. No, not the smoking hot girl, the demon container behind me, the short one in the tree, stated Naruto with his blade still at the boy's throat. Both of the sand ninja were sweating, only the strongest ninja could sense Gaara, and how did the kid know he was a Jinchuriki? There was a swirl of sand in front of Naruto, revealing a short reed with bags under his eyes. Naruto let go of his captive and stared into his fellow Jinchuriki eyes. I hold 9, what about you? Asked Naruto with a very inviting smile. Mother says she is one, stated the reed after a short pause. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Asked Naruto as he reached for his waistband. Gaara nodded and reached for his own waistband. Everyone else had the same thought going through their head, are they going to whip it out in the middle of the street? Both Sakura and Tamari had a deep blush thinking about the blonde's package. Tamari was still blushing from the smoking hot comment. Both demon containers lifted their shirts and showed their seals. Both were shocked at each other's seal, Naruto because of the obvious infectivity of Gaara's, Gaara at the complexity of Naruto's. "You will prove my existence," stated Gaara in a monotone voice while he had a manic smile on his face. Before anyone could even understand what was happening, Naruto appeared in front of Gaara and wrapped him up in a hug. "What are you doing? Put me down. I just proved your existence. If you didn't exist, I couldn't hug you. Plus us containers have to stick together, we both know what it's like to be alone, and I know that I could always use another friend," stated Naruto in a happy, warm and caring voice. Gaara was confused, his existence was just proven without him killing anyone, and there was someone out there that wanted to be his friend. Could he even have a friend? "Why you want to be my friend? You're not afraid of me? You don't fear me? No, you're the same as me, why would I fear you? It's not your fault you're like this, you didn't choose to have it sealed in you," stated Naruto with a smile. Gaara looked at the mysterious blonde like he had just grown another head. Then he looked at his sister and brother, both were looking at him with kind eyes. "Would you two be my friends too?" "Of course we would, we're family Gaara. We have always been here for you," stated Temari. Kankuro just nodded and smiled warmly. "Let's get going, we need to see Baki. Until next time friend," and with that, both Gaara and Kankuro left, leaving only Temari. Temari ran over to the blonde and kissed him on the cheek. Naruto wasn't ready for the kiss and just sat there dumbly. "Thank you for giving me my little brother back. Thank you for helping Gaara," she yelled as she hugged him and continued to thank him. It took a minute, but Naruto finally recovered. "It's the least I could do, he's just like me, I couldn't let him live his life in the dark." "You're a good man, do you have a girlfriend?" asked the female blonde wind user. "Temari. If you're done with your boyfriend, we need to go find Baki-sensei now," yelled Kankuro from the end of the street. Temari and Naruto both blushed. "I guess this will have to wait until next time." She left to follow her brothers. "What do you think, Kyuubi? Did I do good or what?" thought the blonde happily. "Yes you did kid, she would make a fine mate, she had nice wide birthing hips and a rather impressive ass," stated the perverted fox. Naruto just sputtered out a "That's not what I meant Hiro Kitsune." "What was that all about dope? How did you get a hot chick like that?" asked Sasuke as he jumped down from a tree. "What? Haku not enough for you?" asked the blonde, getting a blush from his raven-haired teammate. "Naruto, what was that thing on both of you stomachs? And what did you mean by demon container?" asked Sakura. End of chapter. It was here. The day of the first exam. Naruto knew the way the exam would go, after all, being an anbu and being friends with the first, second and third proctor had its benefits. The first part was a 1-hour test that would work on information gathering or just being uber smart. The second part of the chunin exam was a 5-day survival exercise, which, because he was rather close friends with the crazy snake lady, he had agreed to be the one she would target it to spread fear in the genin, in exchange for a favor at a later date. The third was a one-on-one tournament. "God, this is such bullshit," stated Naruto as he gathered his supplies he figured he would need for the exams. "At least you won't be stuck in the sensei room with us," said Kakashi, who was standing next to Zabuza. "Yay, but at least you two can make money betting on me, I still owe you two for all the training I got," stated Naruto over his shoulder as he filled his pouch with a set of kunai and shuriken. "Got that right, Gaki. My teachings aren't free. And you better make me proud to call you my student or I'll have Haku freeze your balls," commented Zabuza, making a crushing motion with his hands. "You got it, I was planning on it anyway, if I show enough skill, I can get promoted to at least special jounin, maybe even get back into anbu. I sure as hell don't want to stay a genin or even a chunin," stated Naruto as he finished packing. Naruto was bringing both swords, double what he needed in kunai and shuriken, his sealing equipment and his camping supplies, though those were in a storage scroll. "Don't bet on it, the council will want you out in daylight to show the village's strength. I guess they finally got it through their heads that they can't stunt your growth anymore. Plus with a little plan you have for when you make it to the third round, I'm sure that the village will want answers," laughed Kakashi. He was waiting for this day, the day his son brother student best friend would reveal his lineage. It's going to be interesting alright, but one step at a time. I'm going to reveal I'm anbu first, that should turn a few heads, and it should soften the blow that the villagers hated two of their greatest heroes' sons," stated Naruto as he pulled the last piece of his old anbu uniform on, which being about 4 months old, made it a little snug. He wore the standard uniform with his whirlpool headband on his right arm and the leaf headband on his forehead. "Well, let's get going, got an hour and a half before they close the entrances." -5 minutes later, Academy. The fast pace of the day had started early. From the chunin and occasional jonin that were in charge of the first exam to the teams that had arrived early to ensure their entry. At the main entrance sat two familiar people, one with hair the color of pink and the other with hair the color of black that strangely resembled a chicken's backside. Both waiting for their blonde teammate to arrive. "Where the hell is Naruto? If he's late I'm going to pound him into the ground," stated Sakura as she cracked her knuckles. Maybe if he was in a coma you know as well as I do that he's above our level, stated Sasuke with some mixed emotions in his voice. He really did like his blonde friend. But he was a mystery to figure out. No one knew how strong he really was, not even Kakashi knew. Talking about me again. Should have known you both worship me, said Naruto, after silently appearing behind them in a burst of pure speed. Shut up, dope. And Uchiha worships no one. Though I will begrudgingly admit that I respect you, though not very much, stated everyone's second favorite Uchiha. Naruto knew exactly how much the respect of an Uchiha was worth. It had taken almost 6 months to gain the respect of the 3 Uchiha and Anbu, and they were probably the most down-to-earth of the clan. You two ready? Because I know we can rock this thing. Now let's get going, I want to scout the competition, commanded Naruto as he charged into the academy. He really is an idiot, isn't he? Asked Sakura as they both sweat dropped. Yep, but at least he tries to tone it down. I'm not sure if I could handle that, stated Sasuke with a smirk. Then he fell in line behind his idiot friend. Mine is second floor. Wait, dope, what's going on over there? Asked Sasuke, motioning at the large crowd at the end of the hall. No clue, but we got time, wanna check it out? The blonde asked. His teammates both nodded. Come on. Get out of the way. We need to get inside. Yelled a random Iowa Genin. We're doing you a favor. Kids die in these exams. Now get lost or I'll kick your ass. Yelled the Genin. Let's just go, it's obvious this is the wrong floor, they're just weeding out the weaklings, whispered Naruto to his teammates, who both nodded and began to walk off. Only problem was, another group of Konohanins had overheard their discussion and decided to follow them, though one of their more youthful members decided to try to spread the youth. Are you Sasuke Uchiha? Asked a mini guy that Naruto instantly tried to escape from. Yes, this is Sasuke Uchiha. How may I help you? Asked Sasuke in a very monotone voice, obviously trying to make a joke of the green bodysuit wearing freak, though only Naruto, Sasuke and the other boy from the green-clad Genin's team picked up on it. Yosh. I challenge you to a spar. I will show that hard work can topple any genius. Naruto only had one chance to avoid this conflict, and if this kid was anything like Guy, it would only end one way. Yelling and fighting inside is very unyouthful. Scolded Naruto in a very guy-like tone. The results were instantaneous. Lee paled and started ranting about how he would quiet down or do some ridiculous punishment. Well, that bought us some time, let's go, commanded Sasuke. Both Naruto and Sakura just nodded and walked up to the next floor, heading to room 301. Room 301. Naruto and Sasuke lead the way into the room, either trying to show a strong front or just that Sakura was a little timid, even though her training over the last month and a half had made her one of the strongest in their graduating class, right behind Naruto, Sasuke and Kiba, though Shikamaru was probably in the hunt with his massive IQ. Good to see you all made it, stated a voice behind Team 7, the voice of Kakashi Haddock. At his side was the other official sensei of Team 7, the infamous Abusa Mamachi, who was getting some dirty looks from all the Kiri ninjas in the room. Hey brats, good to see you all here, now don't fuck up or I'll have Haku freeze your balls. Stated Zabuza in his gritty voice, saying it loud enough so everyone in the immediate area to hear. Like I would lose to these people, that's a joke, stated Naruto equally loud. Kakashi and Zabuza both caught on to what the young blonde was doing, so they nodded and left, heading to the sensei-only room to watch the first 2 tests on 20 or so television screens. Holy shit, you guys are here too. That make the whole rookie 9. Yelled Kiba, running over from his team and Team 10. Hey Kiba, what's new? Asked Naruto, not really caring for the dog boy. Just getting stronger, I can really kick your ass now. Stated Kiba, getting a laugh from Naruto, Sakura and Sasuke. Well, you keep thinking that, but in all honesty, Sakura could most likely beat you, let alone me, and Naruto laughed. Sasuke, getting a shocked look from everyone but Team 7 and Ino, who now knew that Naruto was at some point an Anbu captain. Yeah right. The dope couldn't beat a stapler. Laughed Kiba, only to get the same snorting laugh as last time. You guys should keep it down, you're attracting everyone's attention, stated a silver-haired, purple-wearing Genin who had a leaf headband. So what? Let them look. There isn't a team in this room we can't take. Well, any team that's supposed to be here. Stated a knowing Naruto. And just what are you doing here, Kabuto? You failed 6 times. Naruto had his friends in Anbu look into every single participant, and 6 of the participants there were either not Genin, aka 2 Chunin and even a Jonin, or under extreme suspicion. There was a team from Iowa that had been swapped out with a Jonin and 2 Chunin. Their apparent target was either Naruto, as it had been reported that his heritage had leaked out, or they were there to weaken enemy nations by killing as many Genin teams as possible. The other 3 were also paired together. Not what I had expected, but seeing as you all are members of the same village as I'll help you all out, said the silver-haired Genin as he reached into his pouch and pulled out a stack of cards. These are ninja info cards, I have info on most of the participants. Sasuke Uchiha, Gaara of the Desert, Temari of the Desert, and Kabuto grinned Naruto. He just locked in that he could get more information out of Kabuto, and he could check the extensiveness of Kabuto's information. And Naruto Uzumaki and Rock Lee stated Sasuke with the same scary smirk Naruto had. Sasuke Uchiha, last of two known Uchiha, specializes in Taijutsu and Fire Ninjutsu, has shown skill in all areas except Kenjutsu, Fuinjutsu and hairstyle started Kabuto, getting a laugh out of Naruto. 12 D ranks, 2 C ranks, 0 B ranks, 1 A rank and no S ranks. Everyone listening in was on guard, a genin doing an A rank was nothing to laugh at, and being an Uchiha didn't let anyone relax at all. Gaara of the Desert, no known skills, but it says that he's never even been scratched, 8 D ranks, 16 C ranks, and 2 B ranks. Everyone was stunned, that mission record and not even a scratch. He was never injured. Yelled Ino, almost all of the rookie 9 was surprised, well except Naruto, being a Jinchuriki and having his incredible healing rate, it was predictable that the one tail would have some sort of ability. Temari of the Desert, long-distance wind user, older sister of Gaara and daughter of the 4th Kazekage. Same missions as Gaara. What? You don't have her measurements. Oh well, I'll get them later. Stated Naruto in a nonchalant tone, making everyone face Vault and 2 attractive blondes in the room blush. Jonin Sensei. The Jonin Sensei has been watching everything going on in the room after Naruto made the comment about Temari's measurements. 4 things happened. First, Baki, the sensei of the Suna team, laughed, either because someone had the balls to ask that or the fact that no one had asked that before, and Temari had a huge blush. Second, almost every female in the room began looking for the boy sensei to beat them for making him a pervert, which was answered by the third thing to happen, Kakashi and Zabuza high-fiving. The fourth thing to happen was Baki explaining to the angered females that both Temari and Kankuro had said she had her eyes on that boy and that they had already met and flirted, getting another high five from Zabuza and Kakashi and calming down the females. Back in contestant room, Kabuto Yakushi, medical and Taijutsu, 67 D ranks, 23 C ranks. 6 times you failed this exam? With that track record I'm surprised that you haven't passed yet, stated Sakura, with most of the people listening to the interaction agreeing. And now for Rock Lee, no skill in Ninja Jutsu, through the roof in Taijutsu, 19 D ranks, 4 C ranks. Figured as much, he's trained by Guy, stated Naruto with a shrug. And finally Naruto Uzumaki, very talented in wind style, has additional affinities, though they're not listed, started Kabuto. As Naruto listened carefully, he was told that there was an information leak and it seemed like Kabuto could be a possible suspect. Extremely talented in Taijutsu and Ninjutsu, trained under Zabuza Mamachi in Kenjutsu. Missions are 12 D ranks, 2 C ranks, 1 B rank, 2 A ranks and 1 second raw. Kabuto was cut off as he suddenly found himself pinned up against a wall by a hand clamped around his throat. The speed at which his assailant had moved was impossible to track, even the Iwa Jonin had only seen it because he was focused intently on the blonde when it happened. The room was tense for a couple of seconds, almost none of the genin had ever seen anyone move that fast, it literally didn't even register in most of the room's eyes until the silver-haired genin was implanted in the wall, and a blonde holding the silver-haired genin so hard around the throat that blood was seeping out of his fingers. Alright maggots. Listen up. My name is Ibiki Marino, came the booming voice of Ibiki Marino, the lead interrogator of Anbu and the proctor of the first exam. He had just poofed into the room when Naruto had made his move. Naruto. What are you doing? He's a traitor. He just revealed 2 seconds rank secrets and he smells like snake. Shouted Naruto as he drove the poor silvered-haired boy even further into the wall and making everyone in the room gawk at the raw power on display from the young blonde. Jonin Sensei, what the hell? What's going on? How did that brat move that fast? What secrets and what did he mean he smells like snake? Yelled the Iwa team's Jonin Sensei, though everyone but 4 people in the room had the same questions. Well, for one, we made him that fast, stated Kakashi as he motioned to himself and Zabuza. We won't have a weak student and you haven't seen anything, he wasn't even using chakra, stated Zabuza, getting a shocked look from everyone else in the room, even Guy. You lie. No genin is that fast. Yelled some Jonin from Kumo, he had seen his Raikage move and to his eyes, there wasn't much difference. Surprising from the dead last of his graduation year, You should see his teammates, they were Rookie of the Year and Kinoichi of the Year, stated Kakashi in a neutral tone, both he and Zabuza had already taken out their novels and began reading. Everyone on the room was speechless and all the other senseis wanted to tell their teams to stay the hell away from that team. Back in contestants' room, Ibiki was immediately next to the 2-leaf ninja as he took over the stranglehold of Kabuto. The bear-like man threw him by his throat to an anbu who had appeared in the room just after Naruto turned his fellow ninja basically into wrecking ball. Put him in a cell and post 2 guards on him, write him in as an interrogation and execution for revealing 2 S-rank secrets and putting a hole in my wall. Okay, now everyone was shocked. Not only did a genin move at inhuman speed and strength to pin a member of his own village to the wall, but the same genin basically just ordered the examiner to throw someone in prison, and the examiner followed his orders without question. But the most shocking part to everyone was the combination of the killing intent coming from the blonde and the way he spoke. It reminded most of them of their village leaders, or at the very least it reminded them of their Jounin sensei. "Well, now that's done with, get in your seats," shouted Ibiki, bringing everyone out of their daze. All the chunin hopefuls quickly made their way to the seats, finding that every spot had a name. Once everyone was in their spots, Ibiki started the explanations. "Alright maggots, listen up. The first stage is a written test. You start with 10 points. Every one you get wrong will cost you 1 point. Every time you get caught cheating you will lose 2. The 10th question will be given orally. You have 1 hour to complete this assignment and the test starts now." Everyone flipped their paper over and began to write, or a couple began to write, but most just looked at it blankly. The genin who didn't know the answers quickly began to get their answers elsewhere, aka cheating. But for 2 people in the room, they noticed something else. Sakura and Sasuke had been having a weird feeling of deja vu that they had seen Ibiki listen to Naruto before. Then, it hit them like Tsunade punching Jiraiya after catching him peeking. Ibiki was the man from the mission in Grass Country. Ibiki was the one that was tortured and had his head ravaged by the enemy. During this time, Naruto was filling in the answers. The distance covered by a kunai in 3 seconds when thrown at 45 feet per second at a 65-degree angle. Piece of cake for an anbu. But wait. Sakura and Sasuke were not an anbu. He checked on his teammates, and thankfully, they were both doing fine. Sakura was smart enough to just answer without cheating, but Sasuke was writing without looking at the paper. Then he saw Sasuke's eyes. Somehow, in the time he was training his water element and Kenjutsu with Zabuza, Sasuke must have unlocked it, but how? Get in here, I have something to tell you, stated Kyuubi in his mind. It had been a while since they had really talked, so Naruto decided to follow his instructions. "Mindscape, what can I help you with, furball?" asked Naruto with a cocky grin on his face. "I'll yell at you for that later. There's 2 things I think you should know," stated Kyuubi in a half-eager, half-fearful voice. "What's got you all riled up?" asked a concerned Naruto. Anytime the fox got like this, something very good or very bad happened. "First, your body can now hold up to 3 full tails worth before the side effects start. This happened during you training with Zabuza. From this point on, you're going to have to train much harder to hold more than 3, stated the great fox. Naruto smiled and nodded. He didn't like using the fox's chakra, but it was a great trump card. "The second, something very big is going to happen. I feel the dark and negative emotions I felt the night of my attack," stated the fox. "Madara is here? But why?" asked Naruto. The fox had told him the story behind the attack several times. "Yes, or at least someone as dark and twisted as he is. That snake bastard comes to mind, or maybe even no, it wouldn't be him," stated the Kyuubi, gaining Naruto's attention. "Who couldn't it be?" he asked. "Don't worry about it. If you ever have the honor of meeting him, I'll tell you," stated Kurama cryptically. "Now head out, the test is still going, and you could use some time to study your competition." Minus 35 minutes later, Jonin room. "Smart kids this year, there's been a couple things I've never seen before," stated some random Jonin. "Just wait, the proctor is Ibiki and they still have the last question. This isn't over by a long shot," stated Asuma Saratobi. "What's it matter? Who's Ibiki?" asked Kurenai. "Oh yay, you're new. Well, Ibiki is the head of the torture and interrogation department, and the 10th question, well," stated Kakashi. "Test room, alright maggots. Time for the 10th question," bellowed Ibiki. Only 45 of the 126 teams were left, and the biggest mystery of the room was the random spikes of chakra, followed by wacky and weird things happening, like people falling off chairs, random yelps from Kunoichi in the room, several Chunin examiners having marker randomly appear on their face, and the icing in the cake. Ibiki's chair collapsed underneath him. Everyone in both the Genin and Jonin room perked up, awaiting for the bear-like man to tell of the final question. "The last question is to be pass or fail, but before I explain, you can leave now or stay for the question." "What will it be?" he asked a group of Chunin hopefuls. "Why would we do that? What would be the point of that?" yelled Tamari. "Because if you leave now, you can take the exam next year, but if you stay and get it wrong, you can never participate in the Chunin exams again," Ibiki said with a smirk only Naruto and Anko could replicate. "What?" was the call of most Genin in the room, save the Sand team, the Jonin and 2 Chunin from Iwa, Naruto and Sasuke. "You can't do that. That silver-haired kid took the test 6 times. Yelled a Genin from Kumo. 1. He was a traitor. So if you want to be like him, be my guest. 2. My test, my rules. Now shut the hell up and make up your mind. You have 2 minutes. Jonin room, can he really do that? Asked several Jonin senseis. No, but Ibiki is a master of mind games. Hell, I play poker with the guy and I almost never win. stated Kakashi as he sharpened a set of kunai, but my little asshole of a student wins enough that I'm not in the poorhouse, kid almost always finds a way to win. You got that right, that little bastard got me a couple of times, I still don't understand how he can read a lie like that, we both wear masks. Stated Zabuza, who was leaning next to Kakashi sharpening his gained sword. So the Uchiha can read people like a book, huh? Could have sworn that was a Hyuga thing. Asked Kurenai with a smirk. Kakashi, Zabuza, Guy and Asuma all looked at each other, then busted out laughing. That's a good one, well the Uchiha brat might be good, hell I'll bet he's mid-chunin in skill. He's not the one that can read people, and he's years away from even thinking he's the best on the team, laughed Zabuza, getting a chuckle from the other 3 members of the We Trained Naruto group, though out of the 7 that trained him, only Kakashi and Zabuza ever said it in public. What are you talking about? The Uchiha was the top of his class and has the Sharingan, who is so strong that you would claim that? Asked Kurenai, not ever thinking about it. Easy, the kid who just made Kabuto a near permanent part of the wall. Test room. The 5 minutes were up and there was only 25 teams left. Naruto had reassured his team and teams 8 and 10. Okay, one last chance. Asked Ibiki, after the question, the room flooded with killer intent and made everyone, including the Iwa shinobi, weak-kneed. The source? Naruto. And the message he was sending was clear, for Ibiki to get on with it, who had helped to scare the living crap out of most of the room. Okay, everyone that stayed, you pass. What? Once again was shouted by half the room. As a chunin, you have to make life and death decisions, if you can't do that, you don't deserve to be a ninja. The bear-like man bellowed. If that was the test, why the hell did we have to write all that crap down? Asked the idiotic Kiba. Ibiki just chuckled, he slowly pulled off his bandana to reveal his scared, burnt and punctured head. Everyone in the room but one person either gasped or cringed. That one being the look of sadness and regret. This is what the cost of information is, mess it up you die, I was lucky enough to have a guardian angel, you most likely won't, answer the large man. A dead silence hung itch the air before a bowl of something came smashing through the window and did some sort of maneuver mid-air. The end result was a very attractive purple-headed female standing in front of a banner that read, the proctor for the second exam, the very sexy and no longer single, Anko Midarashi. Alright maggots. Training ground 44 in 10 minutes. End of chapter. What if Naruto joins Anbu after Chunin exams? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.